Welcome, everyone, to the Maple Syrup Mandos podcast. I'm Anthony. I'm going to let my other hosts introduce themselves.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Paul, and we're down a host this week because Blaise has become one with the Force. God willing, he will come back and teach us all his ways.
Inshallah.
He's probably one of our better CIS players, so he'll give us some more input later. And this is the last of the tier list of the major factions before we move on into the mercenaries and the new other cards that have been introduced. But to remind folks about the tier list rubric, because that's what we're going to be going off of. S tier in the tier list is cards that when you bring that character, you should bring those cards. And they basically define how you make that list and how you play the game. A tier, it's a big impact in the game. And that's another big reason you would take the unit, but you don't necessarily have to build your list around them, per se. B tier, it's a pretty good, solid card. C tier, it's better than any of the generic 1 to 3 pips, but it's pretty specific on what you would use it for and the character, so sometimes you might not bring it. D tier, it's too situational. There's not a lot of impact to it. It's not bother bringing it. And F tier, it's just worse than any generic card, or it's just a really bad card you can't play in a list effectively.
And I think it'd be interesting to see how this shakes out for us because CIS is currently in sort of a dominant meta position. Like as of filming this podcast the week before Adepticon, we'll see if that pans out at Adepticon, but we'll get to the bottom of how much of that we think comes from the cards or how much of it comes from other things, I think, this episode.
Yep, we'll have some fun facts. We're going to start with the man of the hour, General Grievous, and his new 1 pip. I'll do it myself.
Whoa, all right.
So this is from his wheel bike. Is there stats for the wheel bike, or did you put that in the spreadsheet at all? Or
At the time that I pulled my stats, yes, there are. I mean, I wouldn't consider the statistics for any of his new cards significant. It already has a lot of plays, 91 plays when I pulled these stats, which was at this point like a month ago.
Okay.
So quickly climbing.
So this is his 1 pip. General Grievous gets an order. You may choose an allied droid trooper unit within 1 of Grievous. If you do, the chosen unit suffers 1 wound, and General Grievous gains tactical this round. When General Grievous makes attacks this round, remove all aim tokens, dodge tokens, surge token, and standby tokens from the defending unit during the form attack pool step. And these cards can be both used on Foot Grievous and Wheelbike Grievous.
Yep. Yeah, all 6 of Grievous's cards can be used on both. Took me a second to look it up, but this is the second most played of his new cards, which makes sense to me. It's a good card. I think it's important if you're understanding from a rules thing. That's basically 2 separate effects. General Grievous does not need to complete the first paragraph, which is to wound a droid trooper, in order to be able to strip tokens. So he can basically gain tactical 1, but even if he doesn't have the option to do that, he can still strip when he does attacks. And importantly, Grievous, when he's on his wheel bike, can make 2 attacks a turn, so he can actually choose 2 different targets if he wanted to. It's a pretty powerful effect, but highly situational. You really need your opponent to be playing a card that generates a bunch of tokens. If they do that, then this is like super effective. It fully removes them, which is really effective against exemplar units. The tactical 1 is good, but it's quite hard to set up because if you look at the timing of it, it's during the command phase when you play the card. So you have to start the round at range 1 of a droid trooper. You can't like putz around and like take a move, be near a droid trooper, kill them, and like keep going. It has to be right when you play the card. Which on Wheelbike Grievous in particular is kind of hard. He's not often going to be hanging out near your army. Sometimes.
I'd be surprised if this is still the most played card, because it does seem very situational for me on getting the tactical and also with the removing tokens, because it's that opportune on units that are getting tokens. I'm feeling like I put this in somewhere in C For myself personally, for both wheel bike, I think we're valuing this both on just Grievous as a both wheel bike and on foot Grievous, essentially, right?
I think yes. Well, I think considering C tier is typically cards that have like in our rubric is like
Hmm.
potentially really powerful effects, but that are situational. I think both aspects of this card are situational. Somewhat difficult to set up. I think like higher C tier, like when it works, like we talked a lot about like Christmas land scenarios in our our Republic tier list. This is like reminiscent to me of like a Rex one pip situation where it's like
Right.
if it goes the way
Yeah.
you want it to, yeah, like this is extremely powerful. Like this into like an Obi-Wan hello there is like crazy. But there's just a
Or
lot
like a
of
Hondo, the one where Hondo gets a bunch. Although he actually
or
steals tokens, so
or
it's
a
like
Yoda
slightly
3 pip into the Yoda 3 pip. I mean, there's so many like there are scenarios, but it's like you have to be playing a card when they're playing a card that generates a whole bunch of tokens.
yeah.
Um,
And yeah, and so I think, like I said, it's quite hard to set up the wounding on the wheel bike. Like wheel bike Grievous, you kind of would have to position him poorly, or to have like a escorting unit of B1s or something. Um, he can wound like super tactical droids and other like hero droid trooper units, which are sometimes easier to find, and like the wounds might actually matter less because it's the attrition is very situational. Um, on foot Grievous, this feels a little better to me because he has that big dice pool with Pierce 2, so being able to load it up with the two aims, and he tends to be sitting in your army. But yeah, I'd put it like for now, C tier. I think this will end up being a higher tier C card. And the one thing I want to mention, this card is not played a lot in the meta Wheelbike Grievous list, and I think the reason is, and after playing with it in that list, Wheelbike Grievous dies really easily and quite quick, so the chances that you could play this card and not his other one pip, like he's probably going to die before he can get this card, and so the opportunity cost of bringing this card is quite high because Grievous, Wheelbike Grievous in particular, is very fragile, or not. He's easy to hit. He's like a huge target on his head. So you're actually not even seeing this card played in Grievous Wheelbike lists almost at all. All right.
Good to know.
Do you
All
want to
right.
talk about his next one pip?
Yep,
Because of that.
you can read it, Paul.
Yep. I love this card. This is like one of the most iconic cards I think in the game. Has remained completely unchanged since the Clone Wars box set released. Trained in your Jedi arts, General Grievous issues one order to General Grievous. It's a one pip. General Grievous gains a dodge token and gains disengage this round. At the end of General Grievous's next action, he may make an attack against each enemy unit within range 1 and in line of sight using the weapon below. It says trophy lightsabers. It is both melee and up to range 1. It is suppressive and versatile, which means if it's on foot Grievous, he can attack out of an engagement. And it rolls 1 red, 2 black, 1 white. And since he is making the attack, it's not like an area weapon like Sabine or Bosk. It uses his surge conversion chart. And so this card is pretty wildly different depending on what version of Grievous you're playing, which is not a situation we've had a lot. I mean, we talked about it with Luke and Vader. We didn't really even talk about it at all because the profiles on the Vaders are very similar. But this card is good for both versions of General Grievous in very significant ways. Dodge and disengage for on foot Grievous are huge. Gives Grievous the ability to trigger block at the start of an activation or around without even having to do anything. That combined with Immune Pierce means that this card can just be dropped on a hat to make him super defensible, even without him activating, which we'll probably talk about shortly. Disengage means it lets him leave melees on foot Grievous. Wheelbike Grievous doesn't care about that keyword, obviously, because he's a vehicle. And then on the flip side, Vehicle Grievous gains, since he has a surge to crit on his unit card, that attack all gains surge to crit, which is huge. And you're making basically every 8 dice you roll, you would expect that to produce 1 more crit. This rolls a crap ton of dice. Often you're rolling like 20 dice with this, so that's materializing into often like 3 or more extra crits that you wouldn't have rolled. he also has a bigger base, so the range is massively increased. For me, this is an S tier card. It's good on both versions of Grievous. It nukes a huge area. It's suppressive. There's really nothing your opponent can do to shut it down on either version of Grievous, short of like killing him. He's going to be able to get it off and hit multiple targets. He doesn't even need to hit your opponent's entire army. Even just isolating like a flank and suppressing it is huge. And then not even like, there's also the other aspect of this, which is that since he is making the attack and it's a ranged weapon, if you bring up close and personal on him, he also gains a dodge for each ranged attack he would do with this card. Which with Wheelbike Grievous, and that huge base is often. I mean, I've been playing the list for a while, on and off. I would say it's usually you're getting like 4 minimum dodges, all the way up to like 8 is not uncommon. And that just makes him feel often like unkillable unless your opponent has some way to get crits or to have high velocity. It's just crazy. It's just
this is probably the quintessential card you're probably playing with both on foot Grievous and wheelbike Grievous. I think people have been seeing a lot of success with the wheelbike one with this. It's the crazy efficiency, just doing a big whirlybird attack on basically your opponent's whole army and being safe afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, it's busted on Wheelbike Grievous. Frankly, they shouldn't have allowed it, in my opinion.
He shouldn't have
Or
had native surge to crit. It doesn't make any sense to me.
it's just the fact that it's so much better on Wheelbike Grievous than it is on regular Grievous. But this was like the reason even before the generic like General Grievous, or like even before the Wheelbike Grievous came out. Like this was why you would take General Grievous, even when he was like not a particularly good unit. This card was what you built around. I think this is like a quintessential S tier card, both in its impact and like. I don't think Wheelbike Grievous is anywhere close to as good, like dominating the meta without this card's existence.
Yes.
So, yeah.
You see Grievous lists both on foot and Wheelbike. Not really so much Wheelbike Grievous, but we've seen on foot Grievous lists that bring only this card as his only card if they're bringing other characters.
It's a very good card.
It is quintessential to how he plays, and it's super high impact when it goes off on the board.
Yeah,
It's the best by far, like whirlybird area effect attack in the game. Like it's not close.
Yeah, and obviously Grievous is the most expensive of the characters that can do that. Like Wheelbike Grievous is like 150 even, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But and so the other thing I should mention with the rules wise, in case you're not familiar, because this is free attacks, not attack actions, he can still make all of the normal attacks he would like to make during his activation. So for on foot Grievous, he can still swing his double lightsaber attack pool or shoot his pistol. And for Wheelbike Grievous, he can do his overrun and his laser cannon shot and still use this. Just super effective. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Your opponent, when you have Grievous in your list, they are going to play around you playing this card at some point, and it's going to completely determine how. Like, it's going to have a huge impact on how they deploy, how they maneuver on the board. Oftentimes, like if you have up close and personal, it's going to be like this is all. In addition to being a bomb on your opponent's army, it's also like one turn that your opponent can't really effectively engage Grievous. Just a hugely good card.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to say about it, but it's an S tier card, I think.
Totally agree. All right, we're gonna go to one of his newer cards. Pincer Tech is 2-pip. It's gonna give orders to 2 vehicle units. This round, when allied vehicle unit attacks, the defending unit does not benefit from cover if it is within 1 and in line of sight of 1 or more other allied vehicle units.
This card I really don't like. The effect is basically, you can think of it as vehicles in your army gain sharpshooter 2 if you have another vehicle in range 1 of your whatever you're shooting at. I don't find this, like, it's just hard to contrive a situation where this is going to happen for a long time. the only vehicles that CIS has that would get to range one and like be survivable are going to be like spider droids and aqua droids. Um, and it's like if you have like one spider droid in your opponent's army, they're probably going to blow it up anyways because it was probably a flamethrower spider. So I guess you're like threat saturating. You're making it even a little bit scarier. But I would put this as like a D tier card. It's an upgrade over push if you are bringing a super vehicle heavy list. But it still has the attached opportunity cost of if Grievous dies, you couldn't even play it.
Yeah, I actually think. Yeah, I agree. It's a D tier card. I think it's very situational, hard to set up. I think you're only really taking this in like a Grievous, like very vehicle heavy list. I honestly think you're probably taking this in like a generic General Grievous that's more survivable, where you might have
Yeah,
more
and you have
opportunities to play
like
this card.
some longer range vehicles. It's like you force an. You would probably, I think, to use this, force an aqua droid or a spider droid into your opponent's army and like have staps or AATs. But how many attacks are you pulling off with your vehicles from that range that you're getting like a ton of value out of this? It's like if you think about it, Sharpshooter 2 still requires your opponent to have cover, which, like, if you found them out of cover, this card would do nothing. Like, if you could just take a move to find them out of cover, that has no effect. And it basically means your opponent gains an extra 33% chance to block like a hit. So it's like if you're producing 3 or more hits on that pool, it maybe is going to save 1. And how, like, one of your vehicles, in order to trigger this card, is already in your opponent's grill. So, I don't know. It's situational.
I think if it wasn't attached to General Grievous and it was like a generic 2-pip, it might be C tier for me.
Yeah.
But I think since
Yeah.
it needs General Grievous to be alive and in the
Yeah,
army.
I guess it's also imagining. I think this card's also imagining you have Wheelbike Grievous in your opponent's army, and then all your stuff like fires at the units around him. But he's probably dead by the time that you can play a card that's this low effect. Like you would probably play Training Your Jedi Arts. Maybe I'll do it myself, or his 3-pip that we'll probably talk about in a second before you get to this card. But
The card art's cool though.
yeah, this is one of those cards that I think highly suggests that we'll see an ATTE announcement. Because this and quite a few other card arts have shown the ATTE fighting with other Legion units. This is a whole little pet theory I have. It's how they teased Asajj back in the day. Asajj showed up in like 3 card arts before she was announced.
Maybe we'll see them. Probably not because of the new card arts. All right, onto his old 2-pip, Supreme Commander. 2 trooper units. Get orders. General Grievous gains Ruthless this round. When an allied unit is issued an order with this card, that unit and each other allied unit within 1 and in line of sight of that unit gains 1 surge token. And Ruthless is for core units. You can inflict a wound to do a free action, or is it an attack?
Yeah, so Ruthless is allied core units to General Grievous that have a face-up order token when they activate can suffer 1 wound to take 1 extra action. But they have to be at range 2 when they activate with a face-up, which is pretty easy to do in CIS. This card is really good because both the effects it does are very solid. The way that the surge token text is often, if you have your army like set up to coordinate, like most CIS armies should, it gives a surge to almost every unit in your army. Sometimes like multiple surges to some units. CIS has very limited access to surge tokens other than that, which is really solid. And the Ruthless effect can be used to do a lot of interesting things. Principally, you're going to use it to like double move and shoot with a core unit, maybe like a B2, something that you can extend the threat range of a core unit, or to triple move to surprise your opponent by moving onto an objective from much further away than you normally would be able to do, which happened to me at my most recent tournament with this card. All that being said, one detriment to the card is that on Wheelbike Grievous, this card can't give him an order because it's restricted to only troopers. So you need to find another way to give him an order, which CIS has ways to get orders through direct and coordinate onto him or yeah, that's pretty much it. Or you have to be comfortable with him not getting an order, which you probably aren't. But I don't know. What do you guys think? How valuable is giving out a bunch of surge tokens and ruthless?
I don't know.
I I think when you explained to me how it was used against you in the recent tournament we went to Montreal by a very solid player in Nicola. I kind of made me see beyond like the search tokens, which are valuable. Of like the way you could use Ruthless in a CIS army is really strong. I think it's one of the. I mean, between like B2, I mean, this is an interesting card, and like I know B2s aren't very good right now, but it's like an interesting way to make B2s do a little bit more. It's an interesting way to get like your naked B1s who are hanging out in the back and like a round 5 to like actually be able to do stuff. Like if they've been hiding behind line of sight blockers the whole game, of all right, now all of a sudden I can triple move onto a point.
And it does work on Geonosians as well.
Or I guess quadruple move with Geos.
Or triple move shoot with Geos, or like move shoot move.
Yeah, I think action economy is very important in this. Yeah, it's just a very solid card. I agree. I think you're probably not necessarily taking this card on Wheelbike Grievous, but you could. But it's the not being able to issue him orders is kind of an opportunity cost.
If he happens to survive until the end game, like with a Grievous Wheelbike list, it's more like your 6th card, where you're like, okay, the game is still going until the end game. Grievous is still alive. He's going to wheel around and try and support some B1s to like surprise my opponent on an objective. But with on foot Grievous, because he tends to be nested more in the army, he's taking his time to dive for the same reason that the 1-pip actually feels a little better on him. I think this card also feels better.
Somewhere for me, it's somewhere like the BC tier, giving out tokens is nice. Free tokens is always nice in an army that could need tokens. That's where I'm. Yeah, I'm like. I don't think it's a good enough to be B, but I think it's somewhere in C for me.
I think
would put this as a high B tier card.
I agree with Paul. Yeah.
Significant. If you play this card turn 1, your entire army gets 2 surges, which is interesting. I don't think you often want to do that. I think it's like a turn 2 thing, but the surge token generation alone is pretty significant. So even if you don't make good use out of Ruthless, which also the wounds on droids are very low value droid core units. Only the Geonosians are the only ones where I'd be like, taking a wound on like a non-super Geonosian squad could feel pretty bad. But like a B2, you're probably not even losing dice. A B1, you're barely losing anything.
Yeah, in a world where Magna Guards are decent, like being able to triple move charge, like at some point that's going to be something that is.
It doesn't work on them because it's core only.
Oh, it's core only.
Yeah, Ruthless
all right.
Core only. So you just have those.
I take that back. This card sucks.
Also works on Pikes and Black Suns with a face-up order.
Eventually, okay. Weak Way too. In Weak Way.
In Weak Way with face-up order, which is never, but interesting. I don't even know how you would contrive that situation, but if you took Underworld on him, he could just give them an order, I guess. Whatever, not gonna happen. All right.
His next new card, Full Throttle. This is some cool art. This is his new 3-pip. General Grievous gets an order and 2 other vehicle units. When a unit is issued an order of this card, it gains 1 dodge token. This round, when an allied vehicle unit makes a move, after that effect is resolved, it gains 1 surge token.
This card is very good as a 3-pip. More so than you might think, but the surge tokens are significant on a few CIS vehicle units, being Grievous himself, the wheel bikes that are about to come out, Staps, and AAT can all benefit from the surge tokens. The CIS lists, a lot of their vehicles are like mobility focused, so they tend to get shot like a lot because they tend to like get real close to your opponent. They're fast. They tend to have close range weaponry. And crabs, this also works on. So this card really lets you blunt an opponent's offensive. It's not super flashy in how it does it. It's just like increasing your chance to block by like it's like little. It's pretty much 16% by like 1/6 on all of those units. But I think it's solid. It also hands out 3 dodges. Importantly, the surge token effect doesn't require a face up, so if you have a ton of vehicles, which you will once you have emu bikes because they're in the special forces slot, generates a bunch of surge tokens, hands out a good amount of orders, and it's a 3-pip, so you might be able to go second. I think this is usually a turn 1 card as an alternative.
Do you think this is an A or an S tier for you? I think we're talking. This would be strictly probably. I mean, they can go both, either on foot and wheel bike Grievous.
Where did we put like Luminous Beings?
S tier.
As an S tier card?
Yeah, pretty sure.
What are some other cards that generate tokens? This generates a lot of tokens, just to be clear. It generates a lot. Like we're talking 3 dodges off the orders, and then at least 1 surge on every vehicle that moves. Now it's not effective on every vehicle.
We said Tax Strike was an S tier card for what it did with the tokens and both the effect it does.
The Tax Strike is giving extra actions as well. I think low A tier for now. And so the surges are like on Grievous. If he triple moves, it generates 3 surges. Are you going to spend all 3 surges? Sometimes, if you get shot a lot. And so, like, I think realistically, you're talking the realm of like 3 dodges and probably like 6 surges, maybe, in like many lists that are vehicle heavy. There is the situational element of it, though, in that it requires you to take vehicles, I guess.
Also, like,
they're so good, and there's so many of them.
The Bad Batch also gives out a lot of tokens. We put that in A tier, similar to
that doesn't support you.
I think the reason we don't... I think this is a very solid card as well. I think it belongs in A, and I think the reason we don't see the card played as much is because everyone is just playing the other busted Super Tac.
Actually, and I think in the meta list, the Super Tac 3-pip, oftentimes this card's probably a better opener than the Super Tac 3-pip.
Yes.
Because you're getting the same or better defensive tech on most of your units without the immobilizes, and like you can choose to use this to just get into a decent position without having to overextend yourself. If you play that Super Tac 3-pip, which we'll probably talk about in a little bit, if you play that Super Tac 3-pip, you kind of force yourself to having to make shots to make use of it. It's so integral to how a lot of CIS gunline lists, these like mobility gun lines, want to play. Yeah, very good card. Now let's talk about the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Crush them. This is his old 3-pip. General Grievous gets an order of 2 other units. 1 unit is issued an order with this card. That unit gains 1 surge token for each of your opponent's defeated units.
When I think of a D tier card, this was like the card that I thought of when I was like thinking about the tier lists. It is strictly an upgrade over Assault, unless you didn't want to give Grievous an order, and it can hand out surges. As the game goes on, it can hand out more surges if you're defeating your opponent's units. The problem is that you generally want to play the lower priority order control cards earlier in the game. It is true that CIS doesn't always need to do that, so I would put this in like D tier. It can be useful in the end game if you've killed like 2 or more units. It in particular makes Grievous himself, the on-foot Grievous, pretty scary. Not scary. It makes it pretty hard to land a wound on because he's Surge to Block, Immune Pierce. And it can buff up like a B2, 2 B2s. You can also put it on an Exemplar unit, but it's just like, if you're killing a ton of units and generating a bunch of surges on like an Exemplar unit with this, which is like the Christmas Land scenario, you probably were already going to win the game if you have time to just drop a 3 in like the end game.
True. Yeah, I think the difference between this and like the Obi-Wan 3-pip, which is another like mid to end game like 3-pip that's like not an ideal situation but gives you some flexibility, is this one you cannot play at the beginning of the game like and expect to get any value of it. And so the fact that it's like a 3-pip that is horrible or at like not useful at all in the beginning of the game. It is only useful in the end game. Is like, yeah, that's a quintessential D tier card.
Yeah,
It's too slow.
you would 99%. Like the thing is that yes, you could bring it and have it in your hand and be like, I might play it early on, but you might as well just bring a different card. Like if you're gonna like, because it's you can't tell at the beginning of the game whether or not you're gonna be in a scenario where this card would be useful. Which, like I said earlier, is pretty much Grievous is in like melee with someone and he wants to become pretty impenetrable, and you have like a B2 or something that can use the surges to high effect. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's good. I would put it. Yeah, it's similar to Pincer. I would put it above Pincer Attack, but Pincer Attack is being a little underrated just because I haven't played with it. I didn't bring it when I brought this version of the list I've been playing. Crush them. At least I've played a lot.
True. We're going to Grievous's buddy, Dooku. His one pip.
I'll read it. Fear, surprise, intimidation. One pip, Count Dooku. This round, Count Dooku gains Arsenal 2 and Relentless, and each of his ranged weapons gains Versatile. Until the end of the round, each time Count Dooku makes an attack after the attack is resolved, each defending unit gains 2 suppression tokens. Whole ton of stuff going on here. Arsenal 2 means that he can use his lightning and his lightsaber. If he bothered to bring saber throw, he could use that as well. Or he could use that instead of one of the other two. Versatile means he can shoot out of melee. So he can use his ranged weapons out of melee. A common like rules mistake when people are learning is that this doesn't let him use his lightning into a melee. Doesn't let him like combine the saber and the lightning on one target. It's more meant that he swings the saber in melee and then lightning's out of the melee. And then finally you have the suppression effect, which is in addition to the suppression his attacks normally cause. So since his lightning is suppressive, that means his lightning does 4 suppression with this card, which is pretty much suppresses any unit in the game that can take suppression instantly. Many lists it instantly panics your opponent. And it causes his lightsaber to also do 2 suppression, even though it's a melee attack. This is a super good card, and it gives him Relentless. I didn't even mention that. Dooku doesn't natively have charge, so it lets him do the combo of moving into melee and splitting things off. I think this is another S tier card. Also,
And
Dooku has
Cunning one pip. Yep.
Yeah.
It's not only is it a thematic, really incredibly thematic card, like kind of.
Yep.
I mean, in the card art, it's like it's supposed to be like when all these like double duels he has with Anakin and Obi-Wan, where he's like pasting both of them. I think, and the Cunning one pip is the cherry on top. Where I don't know if it's better than the Grievous one pip, but it feels
I think
like it's probably.
I think so. I think it really.
It's like more like it is going to be really. It's the game-winning play with the Dooku lists, and there was a reason why Dooku. I mean, this is also the reason why you're playing Dooku, in the same way that the Grievous one pip is the reason you're playing Grievous. Like Dooku's other cards are pretty good too, but like this is, I mean, this is a crazy good card.
The big thing for me of why it would be better is it gives Dooku Relentless, which is huge. Very valuable for him. Also, it basically it almost always allows him to neutralize like 2 units at once if you have set up a scenario like he's either finishing off a Jedi that's already been wounded with Makashi Mastery, or he's like severely wounding a trooper unit and using the lightning to either panic or kill another unit. That lightning also has like scatter and like does force suppression. Like you can really mess with your opponent. So yeah, and the fact that you almost always get to go first with it, if you would like to, means that you just have complete control. Yeah, and like you said, Jacob, it's so thematic. It's just meant for him. It's meant to be him. Like he just picks 2 units that are near each other and just annihilates both of them, and comes out on top. Your opponent would need some serious defensive tech that was like ready to go at the start of a round to even have a chance of like eating a Dooku lightsaber to the face. It's just a very effective attack. Yeah,
That's why
I mean, there's no.
that's why I think it's a little bit better than the Grievous one pip, because in scenarios you could get
Yeah.
like a big mega attack with the Grievous one pip, but with this you like almost guarantee you win whatever engagement you fight,
Yeah.
whatever POI you're on. You almost
Usually, you would rather neutralize or kill 2 units almost guaranteed by going first with Dooku than you would like maybe damage, but mostly just lightly pepper a bunch of units around Grievous. There's both situational, but I think this card is. I think the cunning and the fact that Grievous doesn't natively have Relentless or Charge is what puts this over the edge for me.
also most
Dooku.
likely you're probably having force push, so you can bubble wrap yourself with the weakened units if you wanted to, so they can't fight back as efficiently.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
why
mean,
it's a little
usually
bit
this card, when I play this card, there's nothing left that can threaten Dooku. Like, you play this card when you have a wounded unit to go after that you want to finish off with his lightsaber, and then the other unit that's probably nearby that could have threatened Dooku gets either heavily wounded or heavily suppressed, or both.
Yeah, we
by,
know.
his
We
lightning.
know.
We know.
It sucks. Alright, that's a good S tier card. Alright, we'll go on to his 2 pip.
And also, he has Direct Trooper, and it's cunning, so that means that you can also just play this to have another unit go first, and then you put your opponent in a really nasty scenario where a really good unit is going first, and then they also know that the second activation is probably going to be Dooku. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Yep.
nasty.
Very fun. Yep.
Paul's won many a tournament off of that card.
Yeah, like, just to say even a little more, the consistency of it in Dooku's pool is so huge. Like, if you put your opponent in a situation where they have, like, 2 units that are hurting, you just go first and you say, okay, those units are gone. Like, there's almost no way that you're getting out of it. In a way that Grievous's 1-pip, he's obviously much cheaper, but Grievous's 1-pip doesn't do that. Like, Grievous's 1-pip doesn't consistently kill units. High value,
Yep.
like Dooku can.
Dooku just eliminates everything he sees.
I've had some awesome games where I've killed Anakin. I had a game where I killed Anakin and Obi-Wan with that card at the same time.
Yeah, that's wild.
Which is, like,
And it's
even
perfectly
better
thematic.
than Attack of the Clones. Like, killed them.
Yep.
Defeated.
Too much Dooku glaze.
Yep, and here's another one.
Jump
Double
will
fall.
you read it, Paul.
Count Dooku and 1 unit. At the start of this is his 2-pip. At the start of the activation phase this round, if Count Dooku has a face-up order token, you may return it to your order pool. If you do, choose up to 2 enemy units within range 2, and return their order tokens to the opposing player's order pool. This one's worded weird. It should say within range 2 of Count Dooku. It just says within range 2 of, like, the ether, which is kind of funny. But obviously that's meant to be in range of Count Dooku. Another good card. Doesn't have the same flash of his 1-pip. This is a card that is super situational. There are a lot of situations where this is useful. And when I say situational, I mean that it can really mess with any ability your opponent's trying to trigger that requires a face-up order. Doesn't stop them from issuing the order, but if they required to have a face-up when they activate, which if you read closely, a lot of command cards actually require the unit to have a face-up, like Tack Strike, for example. Many other, even hero command cards require them to still have their order. So it can situationally shut down a lot of abilities, like Rex's 1-pip, for example. And then you can always just fall back on that this card can also be reliably used to have Dooku often go before another Jedi that he's like dueling, because you can return an opponent's focus piece to their bag, and you can probably, because you're playing CIS, get Dooku out of your bag before your opponent can get the specific unit they want. It's a really complex card, but I think this would be like a B tier card, maybe A tier.
I'm looking somewhere like maybe low A tier.
I think it's probably a B tier card because it's just not always going to be useful.
Yeah.
There's going to be times where like you're just not in range of whatever is in there. You want to be knocking into their bag. There's going to be situations where you, for whatever reason, your order control isn't great and you don't want to risk putting Dooku back in your bag.
Yep.
I think it's. I mean, I think it's. There's obviously a lot of really strong use cases for it. It's situationally like very powerful, but there's going to be a lot of games where it's not super duper impactful. So I think in that way, it's probably like a high B tier card for me, like higher than Grievous's 2-pip.
I don't know. I think for me, I think you're at most putting back something that your opponent wanted to go with at some point. Maybe it's not high impact like a Jedi or something, but they did want to go with it somewhat first or after you. That's why I think it's like
Yeah,
for me, it's
but
low
I
A.
think with that in a 5 round game, oftentimes this card just doesn't get played because you have other 1 pips or higher impact cards. Like if you think about your typical 2.6 game, you probably played like a token generating 3 pip. You probably played Dooku's 1 pip. You probably played like another character's 1 pip, and you probably played another token generating 3 pip at some point because there are a lot of good options. So then it's like, okay, there's 1 round unspoken for in the entire game, pretty much, and it could be this card. You probably have it in your hand if you're playing Dooku, but it also could be something else.
All right, fair. Do
Yeah.
we think this is somewhere
So
top?
that's coming from I played a lot of tournaments at 2.6. There were several tournaments where this card never left my hand in like 3 games. Like I just never played it because I was already busy with everything else.
I guess I have flashbacks of before 2.6. That's
When there were 6 rounds, this card always got played, and the game was just slower.
And there was fewer activations. It was easier to reverse sort your bag.
Yeah, that's true. And you had less vehicles in your CIS list. You always had 6B1s in pre this sort of vehicle meta that we're now in, with aqua droids and crab droids and wheel bikes and everything in your bag. Yeah. So yeah, I would put it in B tier. It actually fits more of the description of a C tier thing, but it still has a consistent value even if you're not like maximizing the disruption to your opponent. Like it still is a cunning 2-pip that probably lets Dooku go before at least 1 or 2 enemy units that your opponent wanted to go activate. This
I think
card
it's
used to be super good in the CIS mirror matchup. It was one of the main things that I would use when I played the mirror matchups, but now the AI pretty much doesn't trigger at all. It doesn't really matter.
I think it's probably top of B or maybe slightly below Grievous's 2-pip, but I think probably top of B.
It's up. I think it's better.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's better than that, it's kind of because it's attached to Dooku, right? Like, if this card was on like a super tack, I don't know how much you would play it. People would complain about it but I don't know how much it would actually get played.
True. On to Dooku's 3-pip. That was new.
I mean, new as in it came out 2 years ago. 2.5 or 3 years ago is when Asajj came out.
It's pretty nice.
The Sith will rule. Count Dooku. This is a 3-pip. When building a command hand, treat this card as though it has 2 pips. So for list building, it's a 2-pip, which means that if you bring this card, you probably have 3 3-pips. Count Dooku gains an aim and a dodge token. After Count Dooku's next activation, if Asajj Ventress does not have a face-down order token, she activates. After she activates, if she has a face-up order token, flip it face down. If she does not have an order token, assign her a face-down operative order token from your order pool, then shuffle your order pool. So basically, Dooku gets an aim and a dodge, and then if Dooku activates first on the round that you play this card, Asajj immediately follows, regardless of if she got an order or if she didn't get an order. And if you didn't give her an order, she obviously would have independent, so it's sort of like she gets a dodge, but you still have you pretty much have order control over her. This card is really hard to rank. I've played it. I believe I played it. I'm trying to think. I actually don't even know. I don't think it left my hand if I did bring it when I played Dooku Asajj at the beginning of 2.6. I think I brought it because there's no other 2-pip I would bring in that list, but I don't think I ever played it.
Would you ever just play this like without Asajj in it, just for the Dooku effect of getting a dodge in a name?
I used to in Old Legion, but nowadays, like, there's no way I'm dropping a card to get an aim and a dodge on Dooku.
I feel this way
Dooku
better 2-pips.
now has native surge to block, so you don't need a dodge to trigger deflect. And it doesn't trigger deflect, and you can't even trigger deflect in melee anymore. But like one dodge is just canceling one hit. It's worth like a 1/3 of a wound. Aims are nice on Dooku if you're going to use lightning. Um, it is solid. Like the aims is probably producing almost 2 extra hits.
Mm-hmm.
And he has Pierce, but the aim and the dodge are sort of inconsequential. If Dooku and Asajj both go right at one right after another and both attack your opponent, like they can do a crap ton of damage super quick. But this runs into the problems that we talked about with Leia's 3-pip. It's much better than Leia's 3-pip, to be clear, because it's
Yes.
very
Yep.
good units. But it's just having 2 units go at the same time in Legion puts you behind on like sort of the cadence of the round. Like you've just had your 2 Force users activate one after the other, which means that they might expose themselves, and you're giving your opponent an extra end of round activation, which, depending on the situation, can be worth a lot.
Yeah, it's not as good as you would think a game going with 2 power pieces at once, because then once those power pieces are done, then your opponent gets to have free reign over whatever side those power pieces are on. I would probably put this somewhere maybe D tier.
I think top of D right now.
Yeah.
Top of
The
D.
main reason you would use this is very similar use case to Dooku's 1-pip, but it's not a 1-pip, which is that you want to like neutralize 2 different targets. The only thing that it can do differently is that Asajj and Dooku could also like pounce on the same thing and like nuke it, which is amazing. But then like that just doesn't come up very often. That your opponent has usually like a Force user that they just like put near them. It's also a 3-pip, so they can get out of the way if they want to. Dooku doesn't have charge on this turn, so he would probably need to be in melee with them already. Yeah, it's just hard to set up a scenario where you need them both to go at once. And similar to Crush Them, but like much more impactful if you can get it off. This is really like an end game card. It is a 2-pip though, but yeah, I think top of D for now.
I think there's probably better 2-pips you're probably playing with in there if you're playing with Dooku and a support character. Alright, the last card of Dooku. Go ahead.
You disappoint me. Count Dooku and 2 units. This is a 3-pip. When a unit is issued an order with this card, that unit gains 1 dodge token. Until the end of the round, each time Count Dooku makes a ranged attack against a trooper unit, after the attack is resolved, that unit makes a speed 2 move. You resolve this movement. So yeah, Count Dooku has to take an action to use his lightning attack, and then you could perform a speed 2 move, like a speed 2 force push with that unit. Which is a huge effect, and it also generates 3 dodges. What do you guys think?
This is
I think this is an A tier card. I think it's like it's basically a better force push when you're considering it's a lightning attack that you do at range 2, you speed 2 move and scatter, and then you could also theoretically be in range to force push by scattering. Like you could be moving units across the field. Like Paul has beaten me in games with this card basically when I'm thinking I'm like safe because I'm pretty far from Dooku, and then Dooku just like steps up, lightnings me, and just like completely goes crazy. And then at baseline, it's just giving like also 3 dodge tokens or 3 dodge tokens. So I think, I think this is an A tier card. I think it's his second best card by a pretty
like
decent margin.
Setup card for the 1-pip or maybe the 2-pip, because then you never know. Because if they go last with him, they could go with the 2-pip or 1-pip. This is like kind of how he makes a lot of his money moves, with getting units down to low health and also getting them closer to him for melee.
Yeah, there's like there's so many ways to use this card. I used to use it a lot in like round 2 as like sort of an engagement card, which is that Dooku would move up, often with burst of speed, to catch opponents off guard, and then pick up an opponent's unit and pull them into melee with himself if they didn't have disengage or if they had already finished activating. And then you lock that unit that probably doesn't want to be in melee with a force user. Dooku could then on his next turn when he's immobilized just like force push them and walk at speed 1 and swing at them, so he doesn't really lose any speed. That's like often how I was playing it because I wanted to get those dodges out because this card also generates a bunch of dodges. But you can also save it for the end game, and you can use this in conjunction with Force Push and and choke and all this stuff to get a bunch of units off an objective, probably two at once. And there's so many things you do. Like other things that I've done is like you pick up like a Darth Vader, like a Commander Vader, and you put him even further away from your army. Like you force push him, then you lightning him, and then like Commander Vader getting moved like almost range 2 away from you means that like he's probably gonna spend a whole turn just walking back to you.
There was one use case where when you were testing out crab droids, where you scout one Dooku, burst of speed, and then lightning. It's a range 4 roughly threat range, and you just pull one of my focus units with scatter and the speed 2 move out of cover, where it's like, oh, this unit that I was trying to save until the end of round 2 is now suppressed, injured, and if I don't activate them first in round 2, they're going to just die.
Yeah, or against Obi-Wan lists, like against Anthony, like pulling units out of Guardian bubbles, pulling units out of Exemplar ranges by blocking line of sight. So many different use cases. We don't have to go super into it, but
it is definitely top of A
tier.
I think it's top of A.
And 3 dodges. Its
off...
only downside is that it's a cunning 3-pip, which means you often, if you try and play this like on turn 2, you're usually going to be forced to go first because of cunning. Like cunning kind of works against you on this card. But that's it.
It's not bad. All right, we'll go on to Count Dooku's favorite bounty hunter.
Your worst nightmare.
To give the quick statistics on Dooku's card.
Oh yeah.
Guess what his most played card is?
It's probably his.
I would guess the 1-pip.
Actually, double the fall, which is the
what?
4th most played card in CIS. Super weird.
Do you think that's because of the
like somebody made a mistake?
Is that from the old rules? You think like a lot of it was like taken over from the old rules, like some of the data?
No, there was nobody who wasn't like I don't understand that. All of his cards are very close to each other, which means that usually people are bringing his 3 main cards. The Asajj card is much less common, very much less common. They're all around like the 750-ish mark, which makes them.
The 2-pip seems wild to me, but that might be some sort of accounting error.
It's. As we've often said, the 2-pip is probably the least competitive slot across most factions. So, I don't know. Probably just a mistake.
I would see his 1-pip be way more popular than...
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got this. I'm your worst nightmare.
Nice.
Cad Bane,
well done.
1-pip. Cad Bane gains Uncanny Luck 2 this round. During Cad Bane's activation this round, he can make up to 2 attack actions instead of the normal 1. I like that. Jacob, talk to me about this card.
So, because Cad Bane has steady, it's very easy to get these 2 attacks off. Like, you're just moving once, moving twice, getting the 2 shots off. Very, very good at scoring bounties. One of the best bounty scoring cards in the game. The only thing that goes against this card, really, is the fact that Cad Bane's attack pool is a bit inconsistent. It is ultimately, with the 2 attacks, it's 8 black dice that surge to crit, pierce 2. He has sharpshooter 1.
Yes.
Yeah. Really solid. You can you're using this card to charge in and double tap like a bounty target. Paul scored bounties on me with this card before.
Yeah.
It's like a range 4 threat range, basically, to get a bounty.
In terms of all the bounty hunters and all of their cards, I think this is the best card for scoring bounties. In terms of its offensive output, it's pretty similar to Reptilian Rampage, but it's a 1-pip. And the fact that Cad Bane has steady and jump means that he's able to find your opponent often when they didn't expect it. And unlike Bosk, he's not suffering like any negative... Like, he's not suffering a wound, and he's not... Bosk kind of has to stand still and just, like, gun someone down, so they have to expose themselves to a 2-pip. This card is a 1-pip, so, like, there's a good chance you win the roll-off, and Bane just pops off 8 Pierce 2. He doesn't often roll all 8. He would average 5 without an aim. I think you usually would bring offensive push on him. I played him a decent amount. I think you would always want offensive push mainly for this card. And in addition, in comparison to Reptilian Rampage, Uncanny Luck 2, even though it does stop him from getting Independent 2, Uncanny Luck 2 is pretty solid. It's pretty much gives him like red surging saves unless he's rolling more than. I mean, if ignoring Danger Sense, Uncanny Luck on him is basically he has red surging saves up until he's rolling more than 2 defense dice. With Danger Sense, it's like he is better than surging red saves. If you have Danger Sense 3 up, he's like almost unwoundable by anything but massive dice pools. Which, yeah, the only thing is that if you would want him to survive a shot with this card up, you probably want him to have at least 1 suppression. Ideally, you want him to have 2, so you can use duck and cover. Really good card.
Yeah, I would say it's really good just catching people off of surprising, and with the electric gauntlets being what, like 3 points, 5 points now or something like that.
Yes, he can also use this on melee attacks. Yeah,
so it's true. Almost like it's almost. Can you use extra supplies to recover? Is it recoverable now, or is it just a plain thing?
The gauntlets, you could use extra supplies to recover the gauntlets.
Yeah,
I would usually use it to recover offensive push if you had it, but you can bring both and choose. The not getting independent dodge 2 is really lame on this card, like just kind of dumb in terms of like a design. Like if he had target or something, or if he gained something for gaining the order, but he doesn't, so that's kind of just annoying. But like, it's still a super good card. When I played Bane in my competitive list for a while, like this was the main reason I brought him, was to catch your opponent off guard. Almost. So he averages 5 Pierce 2 with no aim. That pretty much on average kills almost every hero unit in the game, except for ones that are immune Pierce, basically. Yeah.
I think this card is just above Bosk's 2-pip for, even though Bosk, having this card on a 1-pip in a more competitive slot does kind of suck, but it gets you a lot more than Bosk's, I think. Where Cat Bane, because he is steady, it's effectively just like a free second attack, whereas Bosk has to use like one of his activations for an attack.
I would rather go first if I'm trying to score bounty.
That's also true.
Even need to live.
Because with bounty, you have to live anymore. So
and I also think Cat Bane, even though his attack is a little inconsistent, Bosk's without any aims is even more inconsistent.
Yeah.
Even though I think Bosk is right now needs a little bit less help from like a upgrade. I don't know. I think it's slightly better than Bosk's 2-pip.
Yes, and I think Bane generally is considered to be weak right now. I don't think it's because of this card. It's because of his unit card and also because of actually just one of his cards, which we'll talk about shortly.
Well, I got this one. I'm in control. I can't do it. All right.
You gotta pinch your Adam's apple. I'm in control now.
This is, okay, we have the Weak Wave Pirates here. Maybe, who's this lady?
Aura Singh.
Yeah, she'll probably be coming soon.
That's Bingus on his right.
Oh, yeah.
Do you make that up?
Yeah, no. I made that.
Bing.
Good job calling with this part. Cad Bane, this is Cad Bane's 2-pip. Cad Bane gets an order to another unit. At the start and end of Cad Bane's next activation, he may remove any number of suppression tokens. For each suppression token removed in this way, choose another unit within range 2 of him. The chosen unit gains 1 suppression token each time an enemy trooper gains 1 or more suppression tokens in this way. If it has no immobilized tokens, it gains 1 immobilized token.
This is extremely situational. The main thing to note is Cad Bane's gauntlets have the text where if your opponent has an immobilized token, Cad Bane can leave melee with them. So this 1 immobilized token from this card would trigger that, even if you didn't punch them with the gauntlets. So you can use this as a ghetto disengage for Cad Bane, which is decent. It's not amazing because it also gives Cad Bane an order, so he's very vulnerable because he doesn't get his independent dodges in the melee. Like he's only 6 white saves. He doesn't have the buffer of his dodges. It also gives away his suppression tokens, which means that he's downgrading his defense. Strategically putting that one immobilize on a unit can totally flip the game, but it's super situational. The main use case, and this is like when I played it at the finals at SLO, it was like I got like not the Christmas Land scenario, but I got like one of the optimal scenarios, which was that Bane was in melee. He had 2 suppression, and my opponent Timbo had set up a unit that he clearly had telegraphed that he wanted to double move to get onto an objective at speed 2. And so when Bane activated, he both immobilized the unit that he was in melee with, left, and then because he can do it at the start and end.
Yeah.
Start your activation, you can leave melee, and at the end you can slap that at range 2. So that means that Bane moved like twice, so it's like range 4 from where he started. Drop that immobilize. Timbo could no longer get to my home objective with that unit, and that was the unit that I ended up bountying on the next turn with his 1 pip. Like that's like the best scenario. Super rare that it happens. Risky to play the card. This card also does stop Bane from getting panicked if you need it to, which is good. Bane can get suppressed. Bane can get suppressed quite easily. And if you're planning on playing his 1 pip where he needs to double act to get 2 actions to shoot twice. But all that being said, I think it's a C tier card because of the situational nature of it.
Trying to put down
I
Bane
agree.
with this, I think. Is it below?
It's a really fun card.
Is it below Grievous's card? Or?
I would put it above because it's a 2 pip. Is the main reason.
All right, that's fair. Yeah. We're gonna go on to his next card. I don't really want to put it on here because it's really bad, but.
All right, my turn.
I
My
don't
turn.
want to
My
talk
turn.
about this card forever because it's really complex.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to
I make the rules now.
Ooh, that was good. 3 pip issues 1 order to Cad Bane. Yuck. Read it, Jacob.
If this card was not divulged, place 1 Bane token within range 1 of Cad Bane and not within range 1 of all enemy units. Divulge. Resolve. So that's if you do not divulge it, but typically you're divulging this, I think, if you're playing it. I don't know.
Thought on this card, but I should emphasize that they're schools of thought, not of action.
Yeah.
Playing him.
Nobody plays this, yeah. Divulge. Resolve setup effect step. Place 3 Bane tokens on the battlefield not within range 1 of enemy territory. Cad Bane cannot deploy or make any actions until an allied Here I Am token is revealed. This card must be selected during round 1. And then, so I guess to explain what the Bane tokens are.
Yeah.
So there's 3 different Bane tokens. One is, I forget what it's called, but it's like smoke and mirrors. It's like
smoke and mirrors, yep.
Just doesn't, it's nothing.
Yep.
One is the Here I Am token, which basically teleports Cad Bane onto the field. And issues him an order. And then the third is Kablamo, which, or maybe it isn't called that anymore, but
I think it's still called Kablamo, yeah.
But it gives when that token is flipped, it has this attack profile of Booby Trap, which is solid attack 2 red, 2 black, blast, critical 4, impact 2, and suppressive. And in order to get to have those tokens activate, it's when an enemy unit moves into range 1 in line of sight of that token.
Yes.
So, Paul, if you want to go into that's complex.
Yeah, I can explain why. Can you bring it back up, Anthony, just so I can read it and we can like reference it? So, yeah, it's first problem. It's a 3 pip that issues only 1 order, which is not great, especially if you're playing it hamstrings your list into needing something else to generate orders. Other reason not great, gives Cad Bane an order. Cad Bane has independent dodge too, so this is you're shutting down. You're playing this card is -2 dodge tokens on Cad Bane. The first effect is tough there's two ways you can play it. If you played the card not divulging him, there's only two tokens that are useful because Smoke and Mirrors doesn't do anything. If you place the Here I Am token, what part of the Here I Am token is that in addition to your opponent revealing it by stepping on it, you can also at the beginning of a round choose to flip it. So you can create a spot where Bane can teleport to. But my problem is that the token placement is so restrictive because you have to place the token within one of Bane and not within one of all enemy units, which means that you pretty much are placing this like range one behind where he is when you activate this card. Which if Bane is like diving into like your opponent's army to chase a bounty, you can't play this card to get him out. So you kind of have to play it on like turn 2 because it's useless if you play it on turn 1 because he's off the board. So you have to play it on turn 2. It's like on turn 2, are you playing a 3-pip to issue one order to Cad Bane so that he can maybe teleport back? And like, why would he teleport back? Bounty, you don't need to live to score bounty. So why is he teleporting around? It's really cool, but it's useless. The other thing is that when you reveal Here I Am, you're also minusing 2 dodges. So you've lost 4 dodges by choosing to do this combo to teleport Bane when away from your opponent. With the way that bounty works, there's just and maybe with the objectives with the boxes he can pick up, that would be a good play. Like if you're picking up an objective and teleporting him a long distance. Well, that remains to be seen. The Divulge, I think, is actually even worse than that. Oh, sorry. And the other thing you could do with that is you could just place the Kablamo Mine on an objective. It's extremely obvious what you're doing to your opponent. You could do a mix-up and put a Here I Am there, but your opponent's just going to shoot him. Or, it doesn't give him an extra activation on that round because he would just show up with a face-down order token if he'd already activated. And the Kablamo attack is good. The issue with Kablamo is it says it's an area weapon right there, but because of how the revealing of Bane token works, as soon as your opponent steps onto it, it gets flipped. It can only ever hit one enemy unit, but it can hit multiple of your units, which is really stupid. It's a bomb that is only a bomb against your units. Against every enemy unit is essentially a ranged attack. The Bane tokens still get revealed against units that are immune to range 1 attacks. So if a Lat or an Airspeeder flies onto this, it gets flipped and does literally nothing but could hit your own units. The dice are okay. You can't even score a bounty because Bane's not... It's a token doing the attack and not Bane. And you can't throw it onto an enemy unit and just trigger it because it needs to be placed beyond range 1 of your opponent. So you can't just frisbee throw a bomb into your opponent's army. That would be sick. Probably be busted, but it would be cool. God, it's just such a bad card. It's really hard to explain it all.
It's so clunky.
The Divulge effect means that he can't be deployed, and you're going to place those tokens. Kablamo is almost like there's so much mind games you could put into it, sure. But usually what's going to happen is if you want to be consistent and competitive with this card, Bane's going to be placed conservatively because you don't want to risk him getting revealed and killed on turn 1 when he doesn't have dodge tokens. And you're going to put the bombs on 2 POIs, and your opponent's going to have to decide which one they think is the bomb. They're going to trigger it anyways. They're going to roll 2 defense dice, and they're going to be fine. And it's just not worth it's not worth playing the card. It's not worth getting rid of Independent to get this effect if you were to play it. When I play Bane, competitively, I left this card at home. I would put this F tier. I would put it. It's almost like it's just unplayable. It's just broken in the current rules. It was not designed for the current rules. It did not get reworked when units got reworked. Bane was given the short stick. Hopefully, he's getting a rework within the next year or 2. But yeah, he needs a new 3-pip. I think the idea is cool. It just needs a fundamental rules rewrite.
Yep, a lot of writing on the wall on the card for just F tier. Pretty bad.
Yeah, it's annoying because it's such a complex card. You could play this card 100 times and have it be resolved differently every time. But in the current rules, probably 90 of those are going to be worse than playing Assault, and maybe the other 10 are going to be interesting, but probably not going to win you the game. Too bad. Lots of people have asked me and talked to me and been like, hey, you should play the 3-pip. I think the 3-pip's good. But I don't think anybody else is playing him, so I don't.
I think
Yeah.
they're putting you into a trap. Putting you in a trap.
For the record, Paul was winning tournaments, including SLO, the Saint Laurent Open, playing a Dooku Cad Bane list, and Cad Bane was actually like really solid for him.
Not the 3-pip.
But did not bring that 3-pip. He was not solid for him because of the 3-pip, that's for sure.
Yeah. And if you look higher on the tier, there's a lot of other 3-pips, and there's soon to be 2 more that are going to be much better than this card. Yeah, anyways, let's move on. It's a bad card.
Yeah,
it's annoying.
we spent a lot of time on that card for a lot of nothing. That's
It's even worse in Empire.
Yeah.
And Shadow Collective. It's like off the charts bad in both those factions. Hence why we didn't even rank it.
Next guy. Maul. This is CIS Maul. Duel of the Fates has 1 pip. Gives an order just to Maul. Maul gains 1 dodge token and gains disengage this round. While Maul is engaged with enemy unit this round, that unit cannot spend aim tokens, dodge tokens, standby tokens, or surge tokens.
I think this card has a bit more value on Shadow Collective Maul because Shadow Collective Maul has access to Cunning. That being said, it's still a solid 1 pip. I think it does a lot of what you want to do. It has an interesting effect of like your opponent, when you're in melee with them, can't spend any of their tokens, whether it's offensive or defensive. And that it's not just on Maul's attacks, it's any unit that is in melee with Maul cannot do their tokens. So if like you had, let's say you had like a BX droid, that was charging in a melee with like their swords, right. Like they would not, the enemy unit would not be able to spend dodges or surges on that attack either. I think this is a solid 1 pip. I think on CIS Maul, it's probably high, like somewhere in the B tier. I think Shadow Collective Maul, we could have that conversation, but
fully removes the tokens, and we put that as a C tier card. And this card,
yeah, I guess that's true.
Use case that it's better than I'll do it myself is if you didn't immediately activate Maul, which probably happens. He's a Force user. You probably don't want to immediately activate him. If you want something else to hit.
And most times, this Maul might be your secondary character in the CIS
He does
list.
also get disengage and a dodge. Disengage is pretty significant. So I would put it like high in C tier, above I'm in control, but I just don't think it has enough of an impact with this version of Maul without it being attached to Cunning.
I'd agree. I think it's a little bit better on Shadow Collective Maul.
Yeah. It is like his dueling card. It does make him a very effective duelist, I guess. Combined with his profile, like his both offense and his defense, it is good. Maybe bottom of B. I don't know. We could.
I think C. I think high C is good for. I don't think it's. I can't.
It's tough though because it is a good card. Like I don't know. I just feel that it is a good card.
It is a good card, but I think that's because we think of Shadow Collective Maul. But if we look at
who plays Shadow Collective Maul,
yes. Yeah. But if we were to, and that's like Maul is a centerpiece in that army. If Maul's like playing buddy in a CIS with like Dooku or Grievous, it's a little harder to demonstrate.
I think in a lot of multi-hero like these like multi-saber lists, you probably drop this card, which is really the only way that you're seeing Maul right now. I think he's okay in CIS, but that's really all you're seeing him for. All right, we'll leave it there for now.
Yeah. Yep. The Phantom Menace, his 2 pip, Maul gets an order, another trooper gets an order. This round, Maul cannot make attacks. The enemy units not within range 2 of Maul cannot attack him. If you divulge him at the beginning of the game, he also gets infiltrate alongside that.
Actually don't really understand how this card works because there's not really any consistent things. Oh no! I wanted to make sure. Okay, so yeah, if you divulge this, you can still play it for the first effect.
Yep.
Not that you see that a lot, but you can do that, which is good.
So then you can play it as a regular card during round whatever to not have him attack and not have people attack him, but then he does get the benefit of infiltrate at the beginning of the game.
I think this is it's a divulge card that's a 2 pip, not a particularly competitive slot. giving Maul infiltrate is pretty big. The only issue, unfortunately, with and again, this is another Maul card that's going to be way better on Shadow Collective Maul, is Maul doesn't start getting his 3 actions with his Juyo mastery until he has a wound, and when he would have infiltrate, he does not start off the game with a wound. So infiltrate doesn't do this version of Maul. Yeah. So it's like not.
I put it in C tier.
I think it's
Yeah.
also C tier. I think
It's so
probably
dude. It's so weird how much better Shadow Collective Maul. Maybe it's not that weird,
Turn 1.
dude. That's really. You don't think it makes that much of an impact, but it really does.
No,
Yeah.
the extra
The him not getting shot effect is unlikely to come up. The main way I would think, because it's beyond range 2, which is for a force user significant, it would mainly be if Maul has like mostly cleared a flank and he's sitting on a POI and you don't want your opponent to like engage him from like with longer range units, so he can kind of stand there in the open. In the past, you would use this to like close the gap with your opponent, but you just close the gap with infiltrate anyways. Maul probably finds his way into melee on like turn 2 at the latest, usually with infiltrate and burst of speed.
Yeah.
He might even find himself in melee on turn 1, even if he's not attacking. Yeah, I think C tier.
I think it's a little.
It does feel super weird with how.
I think it's a
good
little
Shadow
worse.
Collective Maul uses these same.
I think it's
cards.
probably under his own 1 pip. I think in terms of usability.
And I think, like, if we think back to Darkness Descends, we rated Darkness Descends highly because both versions of it were very effective in terms of how you played it, reliable or infiltrate. But like CIS Maul's profile is just not as good, you know.
Yes.
That's really like, and
it's the kicker.
He's just not as defensive, not as offensive. He doesn't have the same card access. Like Maul has no CIS Maul, and actually Shadow Collective Maul have no double swinging cards. I don't know. We'll put it there for
That's
now.
fine. And then his last card, at last, his 1 pip gives an order to just him, but while building a command hand, treat this card as if it is though it has 3 pips. Maul gains 1 aim token and gains Jedi Hunter, so surging to crit against anyone that has a force ability. At the start of Maul's next activation, he may suffer 1 wound.
It's funny in this card, it's horrible on Shadow Collective Maul.
You kind of have to bring it,
but you need it. You need it with CIS Maul. I mean, it is a 3 pip in card building or in like list building, but is a 1 pip, which is solid. It gives CIS Maul some very much needed offensive boosts, not just from giving him a wound to activate Juyo Mastery and allowing him to activate 3 times, which is like really necessary for his kit. But Jedi Hunter, a little situational, but nice. I think you often want Maul to be dueling other Force users. I think that's where he really shines a lot of the time. He might not always win the duel, but from a cost effectiveness standpoint, it's pretty solid. And then, the name token is nice when you're rolling that many white dice.
In CIS, where Shadow Collective Maul's hand building is super weird because of all like the cards count as things that they aren't. In CIS, this is usually a third 1 pip, which is good. I think you often don't need to wound Maul. If you put Maul in melee on like the end of turn 1, your opponent's either going to be spending their whole game running away from him to not hit him, which is often like probably also fine. And then you could play this card and then wound him anyways if your opponent is choosing to like not engage him, or they're probably going to throw a couple punches at him and wound him anyways. But I think this being in a third 1 pip, you have to drop a 3 pip, which is a really good slot in CIS. I put this in like maybe bottom of B tier, top of C tier.
I'd say bottom of B for CIS Maul.
It activates CIS Maul. Aim token isn't nothing. especially with his dice pool.
That's his whole shtick of Juyo.
Yep.
So that's the only reason why I would take it.
Yeah, it makes it so that your opponent can't shut you out of getting 3 actions.
All right, no more humans. We're going on to robots. They too will suffer. This is Kalani or Kraken. Is cards. Oh, that's weird. This is their 1 pip. At the end of the command phase, choose an opponent. The chosen opponent must choose one of their core, special forces, support, or heavy units with a face-up token. If able, return that order to their order pool. The first time the chosen opponent would draw an order token from their order pool this round, you may force them to draw a token with the rank of your choice instead.
I think this is F tier. Like, this card just sucks. It's completely shut off by improvised orders. Not completely. It's rendered almost completely useless by improvised orders. Because you still are forcing your opponent to draw, so they can just trigger improvise and draw again.
Yeah, true. And
I
everyone
have
has
lists
copies
that
of
did
improvised.
Like,
Yeah.
every single list is improvised. I could maybe see it being low D. Like, it is probably better than ambush.
I would say it's probably
the thing
low.
is that it's still giving an order to Kalani or Kraken, so then you just need to give an order to the unit that you wanted to go with anyways.
I think some list builds, in a Dooku list, for instance, you're handing him an order with direct. I think it's D tier because I think the effect, if your opponent's not prepared for it, could be powerful.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen a list that actually would be devastated like this, like it used to be in the old rules. Like, order control is so strong, it can't shut down order control on hero units or even heavies. It's restricted to just core special forces, supports,
And heavies.
Oh, is it heavies?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if it works on heavies.
Yep, heavies.
Okay, all right. Well, that makes it. Yeah, it makes it a little better.
I think it's better. I think it
I
is.
put it like D tier.
I think it's top of D tier.
I would put it below the Sith will rule. I would rather have the.
Yeah, I guess it's it's a pretty competitive slot.
This card is going to be, and this card is highly played.
I think it's because that's everybody's second commander. Yeah.
For a while, it was either this or ambush, which I think probably supports the idea. In many lists, it was either this or ambush, and people were probably picking ambush more often than they were picking this, but many people were. It is cooler than ambush. And also, I would petition that this is one of the worst card arts in the game.
You don't like this?
Yeah, it used to be
Kalani or Kraken. It is an art of the generic super attack. A unit that doesn't exist, and this card doesn't even this card was reworked after that unit was removed from the game, and then they just used artwork.
I didn't even notice that it wasn't Kraken or Kalani. I thought
the original artwork wasn't it of Kalani torturing somebody
yeah or something.
Yeah. What the?
The artwork is fine from Evander Ravanelli, but
just not doesn't make any sense.
It's not a art of the unit that this card belongs to.
You might have been led astray, but we like the art. You might have been led astray by some art director, but it's I like.
The choice of and this is weird because it was new art. This was not art that was on it before.
Yeah,
they had art that was appropriate for this unit, removed it, and added just this is a generic super attack, which actually is another unit in the game that also exists, which is just super weird to me. And actually, it continues with the 2-pip.
Yep. The next one, Kalani or Kraken's 2-pip.
It's less egregious because it's in grayscale, but that is not Kalani or Kraken.
Dude, what?
No, wait, it's got the markings. Doesn't Kraken have these markings?
Have markings, but those are not Kalani or Kraken's markings.
That's so annoying.
Yeah, so it's another card where they had artwork that showed Kraken punching Anakin, and then they replaced it of a generic super tactical droid, which is another different unit, and removed said unit from the game, the generic super tactical droid, to replace it with the one. Yeah, but the effect: preservation protocols, 2 droid troopers or AI units. When a unit is issued an order with this card, it gains a dodge token, disengage, and impervious, which is a lot of effects. Has to be a droid trooper or an AI, which isn't much of a restriction.
Mm-hmm.
There are are a lot of units that I would like to give disengage in CIS are not those units, but dodge token and impervious are solid on like tons of CIS units. Almost any CIS vehicle can bring nimble and outmaneuver with defensive protocols. This generates 2 dodges. For them, impervious, even if you're putting on a white save unit, it's something. It's, if they get shot by Pierce, it's something. I would put this as like a
C tier. You think? I think somewhere that's where I'm putting it.
I put it like B tier.
Yeah, I was gonna say above merciless, maybe below merciless munitions.
I put it above.
I think it's above Verisimilar.
In CIS. Those 2 dodges, if you put them on something with nimble and outmaneuver, is really good. You can also just slap these on units with exemplar. I like this card as a good option if you have super tactical droids in your list that are under threat from your opponent. Giving them impervious and a dodge and disengage means it's going to be hard for your opponent to lock down those valuable super tacticals, whether they're Kalani or Kraken, or he's just issuing an order to a generic super tactical.
This is like a nightmare to play like in the mid game when like your Jedi is like trying to embed itself into melee, and they're just like, no, not only are you not going to be able to hurt me nearly as effectively because I have impervious, and I get a dodge. I'm also just gonna, after you swing at me, I'm just gonna leave the melee.
That you want to go into melee have disengaged, so they're gonna leave. So you can only go into melee with like some crappy units that you would.
It's nightmare on like a lot of chunky.
And even if you don't get that effect, if you're in the end game and you're like starting to run thin, you drop this card to get dodges out. Or like if it's the game's progressing slowly and you just want to keep generating tokens and sort of keep the pressure on your opponent, it's a solid card. I would look at the 3 pips before you start blowing this card for its token generation effects, but yeah.
Another good card. Okay. The last card, do not underestimate our means. Is this one of them? This is one of them, right? This is Kraken, right?
I think that's Kraken, right?
For Kalani and Kraken that has artwork of Kalani or Kraken.
This is Kraken. Yeah.
Oh, it's Kalani.
Okay. All right, so this is their 3 pip, 3 droid trooper units or 3 AI units. If this card was not divulged at the start of the next, well, I'll read the divulge ones. You divulge it, choose up to 3 allied units of AI. Each chosen unit gets reinforcements this game, so at the end of the first round, the units that you gave reinforcements to get a free speed 1 move. But if it wasn't divulged, choose up to 2 allied units that have face up tokens. Each chosen unit makes a recover action.
This is the most played CIS card. And Preservation Protocols was number 2.
Yeah, not super surprised by that, actually. This is a very strong, consistently valuable card in every list.
Now, it's probably starting to be hedged out by the ominous Super Tac 3-pip that we've been looking at for a long time. But reinforcements is huge. A speed 1 move on any vehicle in particular is super valuable. You think about your spider droids with flamethrowers. You think about your AATs,
Aquas,
based your persuader tanks, your aquas,
your stabs,
your stabs. Maybe they probably already were where they want to be, but it lets you shove units down your opponent's grill on turn 1, or lets you hide them. Also issues 3 orders, which on turn 1, you can still play this card, and it still issues 3 orders even if you divulged it.
You just choose 2 units that have face-up orders during
really good order control. The orders are super versatile. The only things they can't go on are like your fleshy heroes and your Geonosians, and you can usually just reverse those with this card anyway. The recover effect is super rare that you see anybody do that. I think Nicola didn't divulge it when I played against him, but I don't think he used the effect. I think he was thinking about it, maybe.
I think the only 2 people is the Ion Spider still a recoverable weapon?
No.
Okay. What are the use cases for the recover effect now? Yeah, I mean maybe ordnance on like AATs.
You can get a face up on like Cad Bane. AATs are a solid use of it, but it's just there's not a lot.
I think you're almost always divulging it. I think this is an A tier card. I think it's just such solid, consistent value on a very solid unit that's in almost every list.
Yep. I would put it like bottom of A tier because you do not need to bring this if you bring Kalani. Like Kalani in particular, Kraken is just not a very good unit card. Um, but you don't need to bring this card to bring Kalani. Kalani can just generate tokens and direct orders, and he's fine.
Just
But
Divulge's card has a lot of value for that reinforcement with that speed one on the Aquas. Messed up with that with a lot of POIs. Things just move on to it, and you didn't realize it's half range.
Yep. Yeah, you can use this to either rush your opponent's back point with like those big based vehicle units, or you can use it to have a conservative round one and then just bump onto objectives at the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
I lied. I had one more human left. That's not really human, it's an alien, technically.
The Jedi shall fall.
This is Asajj's card. I don't really know what's happening here, but...
She's battling you, Luminara, yeah.
Yeah. The old artwork is her about to kill Luminara. This is her, like, earlier in the fight.
Oh, I thought she was battling herself. That's why...
No.
Okay.
Why would she be fighting herself with a green lightsaber and green skin?
I don't know. That's what I thought for a long time with the new art. Alright. Asajj gets an order. Asajj ventures to gain Jedi Hunter, so search to crit on users of the Force. This round, until the end of the round, each time Asajj ventures makes an attack, during the roll attack dice step, she may gain up to 4 suppression tokens before rolling dice. She gains 1 dodge token for each suppression gained this way. And her mastery lets her change dodge tokens into hits, Jarka.
Yep, or hits into crits. And she also has Indomitable, so really the effect here is that it could panic her because it's during her activation, but it's unlikely to keep her panicked over the course of a game.
Yeah.
This is a good card. Of all of the cards we've looked at, which I would call like the lesser Jedi and Sith cards, like their combat cards, it still doesn't let her attack twice, but it does let her, and she's an 8 dice pool, consistently get 8. On average, she should hit all 8 if she plays this card.
We ranked the Ahsoka 1 pip. I mean, it's similar to the Rebel Ahsoka 1 pip. I think this card's a little bit worse. Because you have to gain suppression in order to gain basically the same amount of dodges you're getting on the Ahsoka 1 pip.
Yeah, and she's shutting down her independent to trigger this.
Also true. So on a net, you're netting maybe. She has independent dodge 1, right? So you're netting 3 dodges, which is a Rebel Ahsoka. I think you're averaging 3 dodges with her 1 pip. So it's kind of the same, but Asajj has to take suppression.
Right. Not better.
It has a higher ceiling, lower floor, because Ahsoka... Asajj is surge to crit as well.
Higher hit counts. Asajj is not surge to crit. She's no surge token.
Ooh, yeah. I think this is a low B tier card. I think it's higher than Maul's 1 pip and maybe...
above Merciless Munitions.
Yeah, probably.
I put it below Preservation Protocol.
Yeah.
This is like her new card. Obviously, we'll talk about it briefly, but in a little bit, she has access to Makashi Mastery, so she can nuke enemy immune pierce units, but also she can just like nuke vehicles or any unit with this card. Like 8 pierce 2 going on anything is good. Turning hits to crits against vehicles with armor is super solid, especially if she gets into the weak point. I've had her nearly one-shot in AAT. She did like 8 wounds to an AAT with this, which is a little above average, but it's not that much. And yeah, super good card. I would... Yeah, I mean, this is like, you probably are bringing this card every time you play her. If she... Like, because you want her to sacrifice herself. You want to send her in. She's going to blow herself up and trade up, hopefully.
Most likely she'll probably have Makashi or Bounty or something like that.
Yep.
You just need to get this card off before she dies, which is sometimes hard. Like, you're often dropping this pretty early because you're afraid she's going to die with only 5 wounds. But yeah. I've actually seen people are starting to play this even without even bringing her 3 pip. Like, they're just bringing this card, which is interesting.
Here's our 2 pip. I feel like this is her least played card. I Am Fear. Just an order to Asajj.
This has to be her least played card.
At the start of Asajj's next activation, she makes a recover action because she doesn't have Master of the Force. At the end of her next activation, she make this attack below, which is a Force Choke, melee to range 1. Critical Force, spray suppressive. It's a one black die, force choke, up to how many models you have in said unit. I have like not ever seen this card played at all.
This card is very subtly bad. The reason it's bad, I would say, is yes, does give her a second attack. So Asajj, unlike many units in her price point, can attack twice on a turn with this card. Because this card happens at the end of her activation, that would mean that when she ends her activation, she needs to be either in melee or at range 1 of an enemy unit. It does not have versatile, which means that if Asajj ends her activation in melee, all she could do is attack what she's already in melee with. Now, if you look at Asajj's dice pool, she often will kill the thing she's in melee with. And if she doesn't, that probably happened because you didn't want her to by using Pierce optionally to keep her bubble wrapped with something. So this often would kill the unit that's bubble wrapping you, and it doesn't have versatile, so you can't pick another target. So then if you're killing units bubble wrapping you, which would be insulating you from range attacks, you're exposing her to more oncoming fire at the start of her next turn. If you're not using it for that effect, you're really using it like the ideal use case is that you kill one unit and then force choke another unit standing nearby, sort of a ghetto version of Dooku's 1-pip, but it requires you to kill the first unit, and this dice pool is not super reliable or consistent against, like, if your enemy isn't a big multi-model unit, it's not going to roll a lot of dice, so it's unlikely to cripple them in the same way that Dooku's Lightning is. So all that being said, the choke effect is actually, I think, fairly minor compared to the recover. So I would rate this pretty low. The use case is low, that you have a force user that just wants to be sitting out in the open and maybe doing like 2 wounds to like a tree.
Somewhere around D for me. I think the value of it, I mean, if she's already in melee, I don't think there's much value out of this. This attack critical force suppressive doesn't like really move the needle for me, and the fact that she is already so weak already, and having her out in the open kind of sucks anyways, and she's gonna kill anything in melee, like you said.
It's another one of these cards where it's like end game Christmas land scenario, end game optimal scenario. It could be good, but is Asajj really gonna survive until the end game when she can safely like sit out in the open and flamethrower? Probably not.
I think it's like a high D tier. It is still, the Christmas land scenarios are good though. I would say it's somewhere in like the higher DP. I think maybe better than the Kalani 1-pip.
Yep.
But I think you're probably taking. I think
so prohibitively expensive means that you just don't have a good recover option.
It's true,
Yeah.
and I think
choke.
And if you're doing the Dooku Asajj thing, I think you're taking the card that is above this, which is the Dooku 2-pip in list building, but is like a 3-pip when you're playing it, because that is a much more. It's just a more powerful effect.
Like choke and saber throw on her, then she could have a pretty good offensive output from range with this. Like she could double move, throw her lightsaber, choke something, and then
right? Because she is relentless. Yeah,
she's relentless. But then you're not bringing burst. If you don't have choke, you don't have anything worth recovering because you're probably bringing burst, saber throw.
Yeah, it's
on her.
Yep. Agree. Her last card, which is a fun one. I like this card. Yes, my master.
Her best one.
It's a 3-pip. Issues no unit orders because you have to divulge this card and it stays in play. So divulging it, you choose one of the following effects below, and they're both permanent abilities. So the first ability, she gets bounty and reinforcements, bountying a hero unit of some sort, and a speed 1 move at the end of the first round. Or I think the more common one, would get demoralize 1, Makashi mastery, and outmaneuver.
I think you're always taking this if you're taking Asajj. And I think most of the time you're taking Makashi if there's anything that's immune pierce or impervious. And I think maybe like 5% of the time you're taking like the bounty. But either way, I mean, there is some flexibility there, and then Makashi Mastery is just like an extremely powerful keyword that just
You want to explain what it does?
Makashi Mastery allows you to when reduce your pierce value by 1 in melee attacks to cancel out the effects of immune pierce or impervious. So you're making your lightsaber less piercy, but gets rid of immune pierce. It's like very good at killing Mandos, Jedi, Magna Guards, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Really solid.
That would normally counter or significantly stop her
And
offense.
as far as I remember, you can divulge multiple cards. So if you can divulge this card, divulge Cad Bane's card if you really wanted to, and other divulge cards.
Or the Super Tech 3-pip.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna the actual keywords that she's getting here are not crazy. Like, we're talking about she's getting Makashi, which if your opponent doesn't have an immune pierced Jedi, it's not that great. Impervious is like, yes, it is slightly better, but cutting through Impervious and lowering your pierce value to do so is not amazing.
Maneuvers and nothing. Outmaneuver might as well not matter.
Worthless. You usually just want an order on her anyways. You'd rather have order control on her than one dodge token. Bounty sounds good, and it's okay. She can kill those non-immune pierce white save units pretty quickly, although she still has to roll the 6 hits to do it. Probably takes her 2 swings, unless you play her 1-pip. Reinforcements is nice if she wants to close a distance. But there's a big opportunity cost. CIS has a lot of really good 3-pips. I don't think that should affect how much we rate this card, but I would I'm keeping that in mind. I would put it in like B tier.
Yeah, I think if you're bringing Asajj, I think you have to play this regardless.
She's so cheap now that I don't think you need to bring this card. She's so cheap that just a Pierce 2 beat stick, she can have some role in the game.
What other 3-pip are you taking in other than like the Super Tac 3-pip? But you're
Super Tac 3-pip, Dooku's 3-pip. I'm taking Full Throttle over this.
Yeah.
I'm taking the other Super Tactical 3-pip.
I think
I'm taking almost every 3-pip.
Yeah, I think let's rate this below the Super Tac 2-pip.
Yeah. It's definitely better than Lying in Wait, but I would never take this over any of the cards that are above it. And like almost every CIS list is going to have access to at least 2 of those cards currently.
And we haven't even gotten to the good 3-pips yet.
Yes, we're about to get one more.
Before we get there, we got some more aliens to deal with. Sunfax 1-pip. I'm surprised he even got a 1-pip. Brutal Enforcer. At the start of the activation phase, shoots up to 2 Geonosian warrior units within 2 of Sunfac. Range 2 of Sunfac. Each chosen unit may jump 3. Sunfac gets agile and demoralize 1 this round.
Yep. And Sunfac also has direct Geonosian, that's also range 2, so presumably one of those Geonosian warriors will get a face up. Importantly, when he says Geonosian warrior, he means the unit Geonosian warrior. Geonosian warrior is not like a keyword like Wookiee Trooper is, so it doesn't work on himself or Poggle. This is a good card. It has a ton of effects. The Agile and Demoralize 1 are not insignificant on him. I think in my entire career, though, I've only had 1 game where the Agile came in, but I've had quite a few games where the Demoralize was significant. With his suppressive weapon, he can put out 3 suppression on this card.
The jump
Agile does not work on jump, right? Because it's a
move action.
Is it not a unique move action?
I mean, it is, but Agile still works on it.
I thought Agile was just standard moves.
But it's only on himself. He gains Agile 1. He doesn't give Agile 1 out.
Makes a standard move as part of an action or free action.
Yeah.
And jumping.
So he wouldn't get it on the jump.
He does. Yeah. If he jumps and moves and like shoots or something, he'll get 2 dodges. Or if he triple moves, he'll get 3.
But Anthony, I thought you just said it was standard moves.
Yeah, jump is a standard move.
Oh, it's a standard move?
Yep,
it's a standard move where you ignore terrain.
That's how I was allowed to jump twice against Peter. You can't climb. You can't or climbing. Climbing was the reduced standard move. Jump.
You can't. Yeah, you can't jump twice on your turn. But jumping is a standard move.
It's a unique action, but it's a
When
standard
you take
move.
the unique action to jump, you just do a standard move. Like you're
I'd ignore
using
terrain.
action
Okay,
to
got it.
move. It's kind of weird.
Yep. This unit may make a move action as normal, can ignore or end its movement on top of terrain as height X or lower.
Yep. Hence why it also like triggers charge and relentless and stuff. But anyways,
Got it. Okay.
that's pretty
Yep, go ahead.
incidental. The demoralized one can come up. The main thing is the movement. Big thing I want to hit on the movement is you get to see the results of the priority roll before you resolve the movement, so you can play this in a situation and either push your Geonosians if you won priority to get a good shot and then retreat, or if you lost priority, you can hide them with those 2 units that you can nominate. Super good if you're bringing Geonosian super squads. Situationally good if you're bringing the weaker squads, because maybe it bumps the like low model count squads into an objective range. But Geonosians can already triple move. The chances that you weren't in objective range are quite low. So I would put this as a card like B tier, maybe. Like I think like somewhere in B tier. It has a lot of good effects that all go off at once. The unit it's attached to, like Sunfac, is super cheap. You often wouldn't bother to bring this card. He's gonna die. A lot of times you're bringing Geonosians for the objective diving effect, which this card isn't super useful on. I mean, it is, but it's just not like enough to make the difference. So it is a little bit of like requires list building if you want to get like maximize its effect with super squads. I don't know. What do you think, Jacob?
I don't know. I feel like the free, I mean, it can be situationally really powerful, like if you're moving things in the right scenario. But I don't know, you're issuing an order to Sunfac, which is not ideal. I know in CIS you have better order control, but still, it's a cost. It's a 1 pip attached to a unit that's easy to kill. He doesn't get a huge benefit. I mean, Agile certainly isn't nothing.
It requires predetermined list building of like, oh, I want to have Geonosians in this list, and I know they're.
I think it's really solid. Yeah, I think to that point, Anthony, I think it's a very solid card in like a super squatted Geonosian list. But I don't know. I think this is like a little bit too situational to be in B tier. I think this is like more of a C tier card to me.
Top of C tier, I think, because of how good Geonosians are.
It is funny though.
More likely to make a list.
The jump 3 is really funny to me because I don't think I've had a scenario where I've had height 3 terrain yet.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. I mean, it's mostly just it could be jump 1 and 90% of the time it would be good. Jump 2 would be like 99.999% of the time. But lets them like come over a wall and then they can free action jump on their turn and like escape.
Pretty
That's
good.
the main way that I use this.
All right, on to the next bug. 1 pip. Let the executions begin. This is some cool art.
This is F tier.
Booty butt cheeks.
I didn't even read it yet.
This is another one of those cards that requires your support commander to just hang out at like range 2 of your
opponent. Each time. So this is a 1 pip that gives just Poggle an order. Each time a core trooper unit makes an attack, if the defending unit is within 2 and line of sight of Poggle during the roll attack dice step, the attacking unit gains surge to crit during that attack. So Poggle has to be within range 2 and line of sight of whatever this core unit is shooting at.
Yeah, it's basically
math here. If your unit that is shooting rolls 8 dice, this would produce 1 crit. So Poggle needs to be sitting there, and you need to have multiple units with 8 dice attack your opponent for this on average to produce more than 1 crit.
Yep. So the Christmas land scenario is you have 2 B2 super squads that are both engaged with enemy, or like firing at enemies that are range 2, line of sight of Poggle, and you have like some aim tokens to just like ensure that you're getting used to that surge to
I don't
crit.
even think, for me, I don't even feel that's even like a good Christmas
I think
Land
the
scenario.
Christmas land is actually, I think, would be Geonosians. Geonosians roll more dice and are cheaper. So
And I
this
guess
would-
get past cover a lot of the time. Yeah.
So Geonosians, I think, are the best use case for this, which is not very good. Poggle
They're
just
throwing
won't
more.
survive.
Yeah, I guess they are throwing more dice than a B2 Super Squad.
Yep.
This is also a
Just
very
more
like,
models. Yeah.
very slow one pip because Poggle is speed 1. He does have jump as a free action, but he has to get up there and just
This
sit
card
there.
was
And isn't
very
he four?
poorly reworked
Is
from
he?
the old version of it?
Is he 4 health red saves?
Yeah. And if
Yeah, and you don't.
your opponent's army, then he probably doesn't have backup.
Yeah.
He's-
And you're issuing an order to Poggle. Yeah, this card
Yeah.
sucks.
I think it's
Yep.
I think it's probably worse than Cadbane.
Yeah,
Cadbane.
I would never bring it. Let me pull the stats here. See if
I don't think anyone plays this card.
it's been played 95 times.
Whoa.
If
Bad
you're
lads.
bringing a pure Geonosian list, I guess
Yeah.
you would play this card because you're out of other cards to play.
Sure. I don't know.
And if you're playing a pure Geonosian list, the order on Poggle doesn't really matter. If you get one shot, and then, like yeah, and I did bring up the averages. There is like a slot machine chance that this produces a ton of crits, which is cool and fun. But yeah, it's not a
All right,
Poggle.
move it.
Poggle's 55 points.
Yeah, he's.
Doesn't need a good pip.
All right, put it ahead of Cad Bane's 3
No.
pip then.
What?
It has more of a use case scenario than Cad Bane's 3 pip
Fine.
because you might actually. There are decent lists where this
Yeah.
is like one of the only viable cards.
All right, on to his 2 pip. We serve the queen. I wish they had like Geonosian text on this, but it's a 2 pip.
Crazy.
It'd be cool.
No.
It would be cool. It's a
It'd
2
be cool.
pip. It gives it order to 1 unit. Sunfac loses direct Geonosian warriors this round, and Sunfac and allied Geonosian warrior units gain coordinate Geonosian warriors this round. At the start of each allied Geonosian warrior unit's next activation, if it has a face-up token, it gains 1 dodge token and 1 aim token, 1 dodge.
Absolute maximum is 6 aims and 6 dodges generated off this card, which is a lot, but only if you brought a full Geonosian list. Most lists are bringing 2 to 3, so maximum it's like 3 aims, 3 dodges, but it requires a face-up. Your opponent with decent target selection, if they could see the Geonosians, they would blow up the units that haven't activated yet before they get dodges. Geonosians with jump can come over a wall. So I think like this is another. It's not super situational, but this is like your engage card if you invested into Geonosians in list building. If you brought heavies on them, if you brought a lot of them. Yeah, if you brought Sunfac, which you probably did. It's actually doesn't give an aim or a dodge in a dodge to Sunfac though. Not that he needs them, but yeah, this is like your Geonosians come flying over the wall and are overrunning things and are like massive disruption, and the dodges are nice because then they have to actually take a hit because they're a bigger part of your list than the typical like just 2 naked ones that we're seeing a lot of, or 1 naked one. The timing of it is not great. And it being a 2 pip that only issues 1 order, yes, it does bring up coordinate, but it also removes direct, so it's not on Sunfac, who you almost always would have. So it's a 2 pip that actually is like subtracting 2 orders from what you would usually expect to get in exchange for the coordinate effect.
Yeah, I think in a pure list building Geonosian list, I think it's fine, but I think if you're messing around with having just like naked Geos, which most people are doing, I think this is something you would probably leave at home. It's a nice card.
I put it in the middle of C tier.
Yeah, I think
situational list building.
I think
will be
above
good in these
Cad Bane.
lists. Like that's. Yeah, that's exactly where I put it. This card is waiting on a Geonosian battle force to become
Yep.
effective or more common. All right.
And here's their unique 4 pip. We make weapons. Guparangi. 4 droid trooper units. That's what the text said.
I think that's what it said.
4 droid trooper units get orders when building a command hand keep this card.
Okay.
As it has 3 pips. When a droid trooper unit is issued, a core droid trooper unit is issued an order with this card, you may choose to return its order token to the order pool. If you do, you may return 1 defeated miniature to that unit with no wound tokens and remove 1 suppression token from that unit.
I mean, this is the Poggle B2 card.
And this is the main reason you would, if you're going to bring any Poggle cards, this is the main card that I think you would bring. This card, everybody always thinks about this card from the Christmas Land scenario of regenning 4 B2s, which is crazy value. If you regenerated 4 B2s, you're like retroactively producing 4 hits per B2, so 16 hits that your opponent, like you're kind of canceling. It's also a 4-pip, which we talked about with Ahsoka, is the only other character I think that has this.
Yes.
Which means it's also a very good opener for CIS on turn 1, because it lets you usually go twice, and it could hand out 4 orders. You're obviously not getting the regen effect, but depending on your list building, if you struggle with order control, which isn't often, but if you ran a B2 list, it could help there.
I think like a strictly Geonosian B2 list, and you're not running like, I think that's the Candyland scenario. You're getting like, you know, B1 a B2 back at each super squad.
Anthony, I'm going to cut you off. In the in the mythos of this podcast, we don't say Candyland, we say Christmasland. I think you're trying to go outside of our established norms, and I really don't appreciate that. If you could like restart your sentence but say Christmasland. This is a we say Christmasland.
All right, in a Christmasland scenario,
Candy out of Legion.
I think in a Christmasland scenario.
For those who don't know, Paul is Muslim, I am Jewish, and Anthony is Christian.
Is Vietnamese.
I wasn't gonna say it, but we're gonna cut this.
We're gonna. I'm gonna keep this in. So that people can cringe in the comments.
I mean, frankly,
if you're still listening, comment in the comment section. All religions are cool.
We are the most diverse Star Wars Legion podcast out there. Let's be real.
I'm not going to comment on that. I'm just going to talk about the card, and I think.
Thanks, Anthony.
Wait.
I think this card in a Christmasland scenario is
Thank
good
you.
In a Geonosian Poggle Sunfac list B2 super squads.
Yeah, sure.
Outside of that, I don't really see. I mean, putting back a B1 is cool, but like it is a still slow card. But there is a way better 3-pip you can play on turn 1.
Yeah, I'd say it's a C tier card. Gives a lot of orders. Has a potentially situationally powerful effect, but most of the time it's like not going to be all that
any decent
powerful.
Is going to focus fire 1 B2 if at all possible. If you have like, you're probably getting a handful. If you have cards, there are a lot of other cards that do add wounds. So if you list build Grievous into your list and start wounding things with Ruthless, it becomes much better. But yeah, I put C2.
Yeah, and I would say it's the reason that this card, we rated the Ahsoka like 4-pip basically much higher, is this is very restricting on orders as well, in that it's droid troopers.
Its effect if you play turn 1.
And if you're
4-pip does something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also this card, and noteworthy, is I feel like you're trying to play Poggle. A lot of times you're playing Poggle, you're playing him in like a Geonosian focus list. He can't order his Geonosian buddies with this. It is literally,
Best of both worlds.
it is just, you are just able to really play this card in a Poggle B2 list, and that is not a very good list. Still not a bad, it's a decent card.
It's not a very popular list. Yeah. Do you think it's below Phantom Menace, or do you think it's a little higher?
Below Phantom Menace.
Do you think it's better than his 2-pip? I would say so.
All right.
But
yeah, it's so funny because Poggle used to be 85 points, and now he's like 55. And so
Crazy.
Like, He doesn't. You don't need to bring any of his cards. To
No, you don't.
He's just good. All right, we're getting to the good stuff now. We got the stats.
Really?
It's going to be pretty.
Oh yeah.
I think the
Well,
stats.
the stats are not going to be super useful.
It
'cause
won't
these
super
guys came out
reflect.
recently.
Yeah, but you're going to see the power. This one pip is not. But all right, we're going to go to the customizable super tactical droids. This is their one pip exterminate. Gives an order to just them. When super tactical command droid is issued an order to this card, it gains demoralize 2. Additionally, the first time this round, the ordered super tactical command droid defeats an enemy unit after the effect is resolved. The super tac may make a free attack action even if it's already made an attack action during its activation. It's double attack card.
It's like,
And
it's like
Second part, just the first part, you get demoralized 2. The second part triggering is super unreliable. None of the super tactical weapon options consistently kill things unless they are like you brought the configuration that gives you lethal and you have pierce, and then you're just picking on like a unit with a handful of models. So often you would use this to maybe finish off one weak enemy unit and then do another attack, which is decent. Demoralize 2 is a lot because the combat configuration of super attacks get demoralized 1 that stacks, so they end up with demoralized 3 this turn, and they have potentially a suppressive weapon or the chance to make an attack and slice comms, so they can hand out up to 6 suppression in one turn, or actually 7 if they have the suppressive gun, I think, which is pretty wild. But this card is actually only adding 2 suppression to that.
right.
They
Yeah.
get 5 without this card.
Yep.
This card I would only bring if you were bringing the combat configuration with sliced comms to just layer more suppression tech onto your super tech. I would mostly say that the extra attack is incidental, actually. Like, if you find yourself in a scenario where you would like to finish off one unit and shoot another, then sure, like, this card is good.
I think it's pretty unlikely you're going to be killing. I think the demoralize and the suppression value of sliced comms is where you're getting a lot of the benefit out of. If this is like your last card on turn 5, it's a pretty good one, and all your other commanders are dead.
C tier card.
Yes, I think so. One thing this card has going for it is because of it's attached to the customs.
Below Maw.
Customs, even if one of them dies, you can just play this on another one. So
True.
it's closer
True.
to a generic one pip than like many character cards are, because a lot of CIS lists are gonna have 2 or 3 of these things, which is crazy. But
Not very fun. Yep.
So yeah, that's where I would put it. The extra, it's basically demoralized 2 with the Christmas land scenario to get a second attack off.
All right, the Boogeyman card, the best card, Tactical Download. They're 3 pip.
This is top of S tier before we even say
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
about it.
This
is
is,
the super tactical droid. The custom super tactical droid 3 pip can be played on either the commander or operative, same as the 1 pip. So there's 2 units that can play it. It is 3 AI or droid trooper units. Super open. Only your fleshy characters and Wheelbike General Grievous can't get an order from this. And if you put Kraken in a unit, he couldn't get an order. Nice job, Kraken. Oh no, he's a droid trooper. He could still get it. Never mind. Place 4 aim tokens and 4 dodge tokens on this card. So it's 8 tokens generated. Each time an allied droid trooper unit or allied unit with the AI keyword attacks or defends this round, capital round, it may spend 1 token on this card as if that unit had that token. If it does, for each token an allied unit spends in this way, after the effect is resolved, that unit gains 1 immobilized token. So you get a bank of aims and dodges. Any unit that is an AI or a droid, which is going to be pretty much all of your vehicles unless you brought a bad pilot upgrade that got rid of it, can access that bank, and they pay for an immobilized token. Jacob, do you want to break down the immobilized token shenanigans?
So, and basically with the timing of this card, because you remove immobilized tokens at the end of your activation, when you're spending the aim tokens, you essentially there is 0 cost to taking one of the aim tokens, because when you're taking the aim tokens, it's during your activation, unless you're like doing like a standby sort of situation or shoot move or something. But for the most part, you're doing like you're moving, taking an aim, and shooting. You're taking an aim for this card. You get the immobilize, but then you end your activation, and you're just getting rid of that immobilized token. There is some opportunity cost when you take dodge tokens off this card, when you're defending against an attack, because that immobilize will end up counting against you. However, there's ways around it, like with the super tech upgrades.
Attached to can remove an immobilized token,
Yeah.
and you can have multiple copies of that upgrade. So the chances that it mobilizes destroy your game are pretty low, and there are actually a couple positive uses of immobilize as well.
Yeah, I think the only way it feels like there's any opportunity cost using this card is if like you're taking several attacks on the same unit and are taking several dodges where you cannot remove that many immobilized tokens. But even then, like that's
In which case, mentally, I would often think of that scenario as this card is probably keeping that unit alive. So it's immobilized but alive versus dead and not immobilized.
And that's still a win for the CIS player because that unit, even though it's immobilized and can't move.
And the particular unit that happens on the most would be the spider droids with defense protocols who have nimble, so they're actually generating more dodges when they get shot. And yes, the spider droids often get immobilized, but you can also overclock out of immobilized tokens because overclock is the speed 2 move. So
You can?
token, you can still move at speed
That's
1.
nasty.
Yeah.
and
This is an S tier card.
there's
no
no range restriction.
Yep.
Like
No line of sight
The super
restriction.
deck doesn't even have to be alive. It just has to play the card.
Yep.
You could kill it.
It
The
could
super
just-
decks themselves can spend this card. Ani can spend the tokens on this card. It makes every single droid or AI unit in your army more defensible and more effective on offense.
The reason why you're probably bringing this is like just a good S tier 3-pip card. You're giving a
I
lot
don't
of
think
orders.
it's better than Fear, Surprise, Intimidation, but
I mean,
probably better than Training Your Jedi Arts.
yes. I mean, with the token efficiency, with Exemplar, with
And
Kalani,
the order control. Hands up
order
for the
control, you have Kalani giving out more stuff. There's
And
just
you could play this card on an operative. This is like a token generation card that can be played on an operative unit. There's almost no other operative unit in the game that generates. I don't think any other operative is this generous with orders and with token generation I
nope.
can think of.
nope. It's just a really good card of getting an alpha a strike off and just making your alpha strike also very tanky.
Yeah. And so then I
Rebel
think
Ahsoka.
up there, you have the big 4 in S tier or S and A tier. You have like those 4 cards are probably played in like every single CIS list. It's hard to find a use case for anything below those, which is why like Asajj's 3-pip I think is where it is because of these 4.
All right. I'll wrap it up with the generic cards. Not that much. Mechanized Incursion. They're 1-pip for vehicles. Gives an order to 1 vehicle unit.
This one I just wanted to mention. This one is super highly played. It is the 5th most played card in CIS, just after Double the Fall somehow. Training Your Jedi Arts, Preservation Protocols, and Do Not Underestimate Our Means. I think now it is much lower because of the Super Tech 3-pip butting in there. But this card you see this card in a ton of the meta Grievous lists right now.
Yep. So
Over Grievous is 1-pip.
I can see that, yeah, because when an allied vehicle unit is issued an order this round, choose an allied droid trooper within range 2 of that vehicle. The chosen unit issues an order to itself.
It's just, I mean, this is a solid generic 1-pip in that it's extra orders, and I think unlike some other, like the Republic 1-pip, for instance, which forces you to order a vehicle, like CIS right now just has so many really, really good vehicle options, and then they could order chain through coordinate. I think it's probably played more than it should be. I think like a lot of these generic cards, you also don't have to worry about like when your heroes are dying, that you could still have this in your back pocket to issue orders to like a stap instead of Wheelbite Grievous, or I guess usually you'd be issuing orders to a stap and then coordinating over to Wheelbite Grievous. But whatever the case is, like I think this is a somewhere in C tier.
Yeah. The reason it's seeing a lot of play right now is because that list is like a not a contrived list, but it is a optimal use case scenario.
Maybe above yeah, I put above Exterminate.
So yeah, if you've got a heavy vehicle list, and General Grievous likes getting the one order from this, yeah.
Good one pip. All right, their next generic card, Orbital Strike. Their 2-pip gives an order to a commander or a heavy vehicle unit once it's around at the end of a commander's activation or an allied field commander's unit activation, and they make the attack using the weapon below. It's a range 4 to infinite. Orbital Bombardment, 2 red, 2 black with immune deflect, and it's suppressive.
So decent bombardment card. I wouldn't think it as good as the Republic bombardment card. Certainly better than Leia's. Certainly better than Veer's because of the flexibility of who can be played on. And it's a generic, so it can't get taken out of your hand. This is, I think, a good example of a 6th card. You bring this in your hand on the off chance that your commanders die, and so you have a 2-pip that you can bring out in the end, and you can snipe something across the map, put some suppression down. I put this in C tier, I think.
Yep. I'd say above Cad Bane there.
Yep. On the operative super attack, it can be an actually more threatening offensive pool with like lethal 1, but that's a pretty contrived list where you're like would actually use that as a primary way to engage.
Yeah, situationally really good, but I think it's like you said, 6th card you would play if Dooku, Grievous died, whatever. You have this still left over.
Its biggest advantage is that it is a generic card, and CIS has a couple commanders that have a good chance of going down in those first like 3 or 4 rounds.
And their last generic, their 3-pip, Roger Roger, 3 droid trooper units. When a unit is issued an order of this card, it gains 1 dodge or surge token, so similar to the other generics. Get a token of some sort and issue a lot of the core units.
It's just so much worse than all the other 3-pips we've talked about in terms of the generation. The orders are more restrictive. It's only droid troopers, not AI units. So it means it can't be used on any of your vehicles. It can get surges onto your exemplar units, but like compare this to General Grievous's 3-pip, which generates a ton of surges, generates 3 dodges, gets them onto the vehicles. I would put this like the opportunity cost is really what's going against it, I would say. In terms of token generation,
I don't really see. I think there's no purpose for it, in my opinion, if you have a tactical download already. The search token seems nice, but I don't really. I don't know. I don't think it's that useful.
As a card, I would probably put it somewhere near the top of C. The surge generation on exemplar units is nice. Dodge tokens on B1s are actually pretty effective because it's almost always stopping you from losing a model. It's just the opportunity cost of it has really stiff competition. So it's just there's almost never a scenario.
It's got Kalani's 3-pip, the Super Attack 3-pip.
Separatist Invasion is probably the only list that this would show up in, which is a bad list. So yeah, I would add lower in C. Bottom of C. Opportunity cost hurts it.
All right, and on to the only battle force for CIS. They only have one battle force, which is Separatist Invasion.
That's true. The only battle force with cards.
Yeah.
Cards, sorry. They have experimental droids, but they have no cards for that one. All right, their 1-pip AI coordination gives an order to a heavy unit or a support unit. When a unit is issued with this card, or of this card, it gets 1 standby token.
So in context, in Separatist Invasion Force, they can only bring droidicas, staps, and AATs. Staps can't use the standby, so it's either a droidica getting a standby, which is pretty worthless, or an AAT.
Which has value, but I'd say this is like a D tier card. Just a I think in the context of that battle force, it is an upgrade over assault because much of the time you want to be issuing your orders to your AAT. I'd say it's like higher than the Grievous 2 pip there, and maybe the 3 pip, and that's about
Things right
it.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with Dooku having direct and you can do all that shit,
Yeah.
so it's not as hard to get an order on Dooku anymore, but I don't think it's that good of a card.
One standby, you know.
Yep, on a unit that may or may not be able to attack.
Well, yeah,
And AATs are...
stand by onto Dooku at all anymore.
Yeah, and the AAT also, unlike, I think, some other vehicles that will get standbys, is you don't want that AAT to be in range 2 of enemy units.
Yeah, it's probably firing maybe the AP shells if you paid for those, but it's probably firing its side guns and its main cannon. But if your opponent didn't come into the front arc, then it's only firing its main cannon, which is fine. But if they also like cohere into range 1, which is really easy to do, then you're only firing the side cannons. So
Yeah.
the move is nice.
The move is nice.
It's like a free move, but yeah.
It's true.
All right.
You guys have it accurate. It's just a bad battle force. Like it's just
Yeah, that's the issue
Not
more than anything.
Not thematically.
very clearly like we're releasing battle forces. We should probably make one for CIS.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
It feels kind of.
That card actually works on Dooku. We're gonna remove that. And,
It feels half baked, especially since there's no Gungans yet.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I think they just not a good battle force. Very unplayed. Not very good card.
All right, on to their 2 pip. Unrelenting Assault.
Great art on this one.
It's really cool. It gives 2 orders to 2 core units. Until the end of the round, each time an allied unit makes a ranged attack after the action is resolved, if it spent 1 or more aim tokens, another allied unit within range 2 of it may gain 1 aim token. Similar to the Empire 3 covering fire one, right?
Yeah, it's a lot better. It only requires the unit to make an attack. They don't need an aim to start the chain. You could funnel these onto the T series or onto the AAT. You don't need too many aims on the AAT, but probably 1 would be fine. But you can put these onto the T series, and then you can have a lot of B1 shooting with like double aims, which the point of this card, and this is one of the better designed parts of the Battle Force, is that this is meant to give 1 turn where your B1 line can actually fire like a real gun line with all the extra extra models that you're paying for, and you're probably bringing the heavy weapons and stuff. So you do get like a punishing amount of fire in theory with this card. It's still never going to be consistent because you're rolling buckets of white dice.
You're also allowed to bring 8 core units instead of the regular 6, right? Or something like that.
Yes, and you run out of points, so you're probably bringing a decent amount of super squads, but you just don't have a good basis of dice to use this on. The AAT's dice are too good. Droidekas would be okay, and B1's dice are too bad. But it's a shit ton of aims. It's like probably 8 aims.
Yeah.
If you play something like that.
It plays like the invasion of Naboo, where they're just shooting in a line going down.
Yeah, it's cool. Thematically cool. I'd put this somewhere in D tier.
I'd say above the... probably above the Asajj 2 pip.
Yeah, it's a good card. Generates up to 8 aims.
8 aims on units that kind of suck, but still, yeah.
They need aims. They average at least 2. All right, their last card, Unstoppable Advance. It's a 3 pip, which gives 3 orders of 3 core units. When a unit is issued an order with this card, it may make a speed 1 move.
So one thing this card has going for it is it's locked into a battle force that can't play any of the good 3 pips.
Yeah, true.
Yep,
And free moves are good.
Yeah, it's much better than Roger. It's only on B1s because they cannot bring B2s.
Or made yet.
Speed 1 moves on the second cheapest unit in the game, or I think. But they could have Super Squad, could have a Rad Cannon. I would put this like higher in C. It's better than Roger. You get a lot of You get 3 moves. I really wish this card was literally just every B1 gets a speed 1 move.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
Like it's
it's
the
just
entire army takes a step forward.
Yep.
Um, would seem thematic.
It
with,
would
like,
mean more
Mandos,
thematic to the
but
invasion of Naboo, similar to the 2 pip, but I think
if
it
this
might have
was
been.
every unit issued in order this turn gets a speed 1 move, that would be awesome. But yeah, it's slightly better than Roger Roger. But yeah, speed 1s on B1s are unlikely to
And
amount to much. And that's CIS.
that's the end of the CS. So
Yeah.
what are our thoughts so far? I mean, they only have 2 butt cheek cards, which I think is pretty amazing.
And not a whole lot of D tier cards either. I think.
Well, all the D tier cards are so situational to like scenarios, which I don't even think is necessarily bad. Like I think when the other D tier cards we rated, they're just like super situational. These ones, they're just you can. There is some purpose to them. I think, my opinion at least. Maybe not crush them. I think is
Yeah,
the
like
least.
I don't know, like it's hard. The units that many of these cards should attach to are really strong. Like Crush Them would probably be an F tier card if it wasn't also playable on like Grievous, who's a very good unit card. Um, and like I think that Super Tech 1 pip if it was a bad unit or even worse unit. But anyways, um, I think as a faction, yeah, CIS has a really strong suit of cards at the top. If you look at the top there, Cad Bane and Bosk are the only units that are in this entire like the S and A tier and most of B that are not amazing unit cards.
Mhm.
All of those units, Dooku, Grievous, both versions of Grievous, I would say. Obviously, the super tactical droid, Kalani, Kraken are amazing units as a card,
Well,
like what they bring.
Kraken isn't, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, those characters are in almost every list. They have amazing cards, and so it's like if you look at CIS list building, like almost every list is probably bringing cards from the S and A tier and maybe 1 or 2 other cards from outside of that tier.
Like B and C, like you probably maybe taking a Sunfac card, maybe, or like Orbital
Yeah.
Strike, or like Mechanical.
There are a
like
couple cards in there that might get played, but it's and so I think part of it is like the cards are layered onto already good units right now. But I do think that our ranking of these is pretty agnostic of the actual current price point of those units.
Mm.
Like these are all yeah. They have a good token generation on the 3 pips, unlike other factions.
I would
Other factions
say
struggle
they've
to get
definitely
as much.
outpaced, yeah, at least outpaced Cigar in terms of token generation. I mean, the 3 pip giving out 8 tokens total and not even requiring line of sight for any of the super attacks is really, really good. That's a great turn 1 move, especially with an Alpha Strike. I'd be surprised going back to this tier list, maybe in the future after people have been playing the super attacks, just seeing how much more prevalent tactical download is. It's a very, I mean, every time I played in Montreal, anytime that's any Grievous list, you play that turn
Yep.
1 or turn 2. It's really good.
All right. Well, that was
What's that? Oh. I'm sensing a presence I've not felt since. Oh.
well, weeks
And
ago.
Anthony, you can edit. Yeah, you can edit. Cut this and then edit Blaise like fading in, and then maybe we can get an audio clip of Blaise's voice like with an echo reverb on it, like booming in.
I'm sleepy.
I'm sleepy.
let's do that.
Well, let's land this ship.
Are we gonna act as though we're reacting to
cut.
Blaze?
Yep, yes. No, we're not gonna react to Blaze. It's just gonna be there.
Well, let's react to Blaze after we get Blaze talking into a microphone.
We say wise. We can say wise words from Mr. Rainville, Master Rainville. Master Rainville is communicating to us from beyond the veil.
Hey, it's me, Blaze, from the afterlife. In the force field, I couldn't stay awake long enough to be here. But good job with the CIS command cards. Yup.
Well, thank you, Blaze. That's That was a little scary, but your thoughts are always very insightful. I hope you got some rest. All right, we're going to land this ship here. I'm Jacob. That's Anthony. That's Paul. Stay sticky. Wait, we're the maple syrup.